again, trying to did it again. Red Dead Redemption. And now we're going to break it down as only Jason Black can do ever so effortlessly. Why Mike Bloomburg is a hell no to the no, 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 hell to the no. So let's get to it.
New York City brought us one billionaire to become president, and now they're working on another one. Mr. Stop and Frisk wants to be your new master. Wonder how well that's going to turn out for him. Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world. Welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting super fortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media. And this is the Black Channel.net radio program, and I am, of course, your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, and I'm very glad to welcome you all with us here this evening. Not planning on taking telephone calls, so I know this is disappointing a lot of people, but we're gonna do that. Well, welcome back to the only historically black college and university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. Oh, and join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, we have to understand, get back to what we're talking about here, because big things are happening. You have to understand there have been distractions handed out to you for the purposes of keeping us from focusing, but that's not going to work, much to the chagrin of some of the Democrats' puppets. That's not going to work. But there are other people out there, other dark forces at work, individuals with a lot of ability, individuals with a lot of pull, individuals with a lot of resources, and they are now making their move. You went from making jokes that Donald Trump, with his bona fide white supremacist credentials, could become president, and now another Republican who demonstrated to you that Democrat and Republican are simply interchangeable titles that can be put on or shed like a coat at any time. Understand that. So that's what we have here. So what I've done here tonight is I've gone ahead and gotten a good friend of the channel here, Thomas Lopez Pierre. Welcome to the Black Channel, brother. I have all kinds of long time, especially where guys like Bloomburg are concerned. You are a resident. First question I got to ask you, and we're going to get into a lot of things here tonight, but first and foremost, I want to deal with this guy. Michael Bloomburg has entered the race. He says he's going to spend $100 million of his own money so that he doesn't have to comply with any type of campaign finance limits. So basically, he's going to buy an election, is basically what he wants to do here. Can you tell us here, why did this guy wait until now? Because we thought maybe he went 4 years ago. Why did he wait until now? Why is he, in your opinion, why is he doing this now? And do you see this as a problem?
Well, thank you for having me on the show, Jason. And as you know, I'm a big fan. To your question, Michael Bloomburg is just a very bored, wealthy man. And in his view, if some stupid clown real estate developer in the light of Donald Trump can become president of the United States, how is it someone as brilliant as he is not the president of the United States? And so all I would say is America should be afraid, very afraid. Here in New York City, we experienced 12 years of Michael Bloomburg, and he caused enormous damage to the people, the Black and Hispanic community in New York City. His quote was that New York City was a luxury product. And so he was committed into bringing companies and condos and high-end housing to New York with the thinking that these rich people would pay taxes and enable him to give welfare to the remaining poor Blacks and Latinos that stayed in the city. So that's the kind of view. And he needed a way to control the Negroes, per se. And so stop and frisk was his way of causing domestic terrorism in the Black community in New York City, where you could not let your child walk out of the house on their way to school without having some Nazi-type stormtrooper, NYPD police special unit grab your child and throw them up against the wall in the hopes and prayers that they would have a gun on them or some kind of weapon. And in effect, what they found on many of these young Black men were a couple of joints of marijuana. And so these kids were put through the criminal justice system, maybe for the first time, because they had a joint of marijuana on them at 16, 17, 18, 19 years old. So as we saw, he publicly apologized for stop and frisk. But that's like, apologizing to a rape victim for the sex. It doesn't do justice. The best thing you can do for the Black community is not run for political office again and use some of this money to help fix the immoral act of stop and frisk in New York City. He should be paying penance. Maybe after a decade, after the lives of Black and Hispanic people that were subjected to stop and frisk, then maybe you can come back and say, I'm sorry, look what I did. I think I can do more in politics. But he should never get elected to an office that puts him in a position to impact the lives of Black and Hispanic people.
Well, I'm not really concerned about Hispanics. In New York City, they tend to go along the same lines of supporting the Michael Bloombergs of America.
That's a very good point. In New York, the dominant racial group is the Black community. And one of the things that we have seen is that where they like to pit us against each other. And Bloomberg was guilty of the divide and conquer strategy, which many people in the Hispanic community was more than willing to play along with.
Now, what I want to find out about is his billionaire buddies, because I'm really concerned more about where this is going. I did the definitive film about this, Gentrified, Ethnic Cleansing American Style. And when you have a situation where you have a billionaire developer in New York seems to be overrun with them, who describes an entire city as a luxury product. I want to get into some of the tactics that they've been using. Can you tell us about some of the things they've been doing to try to silence people? Because gentrification is really, it's 20-something years late, to be totally honest, but it's really become a major issue now. Hopefully it's not too late, but it's become a major issue. So can you tell us about some of the tactics some of these people are using now, individuals like the Bloombergs and the Silversteins and the rest of these individuals who have been throwing their weight around basically to ethnically cleanse the city by means of using their economics?
Well, sure. As you know, I manage a private equity, boutique private equity real estate investment fund called the Harlem Real Estate Fund. And the concept of our social impact fund is to raise capital exclusively from Black people and deploy it exclusively with Black developers. And one of the things that we have been complaining about is that we're not getting opportunities in this city, that certain racial and religious groups dominate and control the real estate. And they have been at a powerful force in keeping Black people from building wealth. And I have gone publicly to complain against the racist business practices of many in the real estate industry. For instance, there's a gentleman by the name of Michael Tortorici. Michael Tortorici, and he is the Executive Vice President for Aerial Property Advisors here in New York City. They just recently, last year, sold a property in Harlem for $75 million. His company has about 40-something employees, and not one is black. Not one employee is black. And so I have been organizing protests against his company online and in person. And he went and actually used the power of the real estate industry to get the police to say that they're going to arrest me next week. I believe it's him. If it's not him, then it's one of the other CEOs of the major real estate companies here in New York that had me arrested for harassment to keep me from exercising my constitutional rights of freedom of speech to advocate for the black community here. Using all types of means to keep black people out of the economic benefits of real estate.
Now, let me interject really quick here. Now, you're talking about somebody who wants to have you arrested for speaking out against this. Exactly how does that work?
Well, you know, I published a video on my Twitter and on YouTube. On my Twitter.
I put down the applicants in the refrigerator.
RE Diversity PhD on Twitter, and then my name, Thomas Bloomburg, here on YouTube. You can find the video where I
Thank you. That's the
out
whole
of a
point.
real estate event, asking you to I repeated it like.
Is that one empty?
Are you ready?
That one over there, you got to see it. That's there.
Yes, seats.
And he ran like a little girl with a skirt between his legs. I know women that have more manhood than he does. And he ran from the event because he could not face the reality that they make tens of millions of dollars in commercial broker fees, and none of that money is circulated back in the black black community through brokerage, through earn fees for black people. I'll give his company credit. They do give a lot of welfare. They do give a couple $1,000 a year of welfare grants to black non-profits. But you know, they've been doing that forever, where they don't give us the ownership opportunity, but they give us little crumbs of welfare so that we can always be dependent and grateful that they gave us, you know. So there's a couple of small little non-profits in the city of New York that get welfare from that company. And they're trying to have a chilling effect to someone like me, Thomas Lopez Diaz, from speaking out against the blatant racism within the commercial real estate industry here in New York City. And the reason we're being pushed out of our communities is because we don't own the real estate in our communities. I mean, if you remember from Gentrify, where I spoke in your documentary, that, you know, they send the police into our communities to engage in high degree of arrest and stop and frisk, so that they can make white people feel safe in the city, in black neighborhoods, and aggressively push out, make the black people in the community not feel welcomed in their own community. Recently, sadly, about a week and a half ago, a white girl walked into a park in Harlem looking to go buy marijuana. And it is alleged that 3 young black men, 2 and 14 and 1 and 13, tried to rob her, and she was, I guess, inadvertently stabbed to death. A horrific crime. My condolences to the family. And these 13-year-old boys, 14-year-old boys are accused of killing this 18-year-old white girl. Now, I'm a parent of children. My son is 14 years old, and he wouldn't even kill a cockroach. What type of living situation makes a 13-year-old want to kill some white person for their iPhone or wallet or whatever? Like, because we have no economic opportunity in New York City, our black youth are left to a life of crime. Rikers Island is the city jail in New York City. The city of New York is 25% black, 25% Hispanic, and 50% white. Well, maybe 45% white, like 5% Asian. But the city jail is 92% black and Hispanic. So either black and Hispanic people are just automatically criminals, or they are being oppressed. And so we have to ask ourselves, why is it that these black youth are engaging in crime and not going to college and not graduating and becoming successful professionals? It's because our families, our communities do not have economic opportunity. If you look at Great Britain with the Irish have the same problem. They have high degrees of crime. The reason they have high degrees of crime is because of the racist actions of the British government and the British people oppressing the Irish in Great Britain. So those are two white groups, and one of them is living in a life of crime and oppression because of another dominant group. So here in New York City, the only opportunities for black people are the majority of black folks is for the engage in some kind of crime, and so we will not solve the issue of crime until we solve the issue of economic opportunity.
Well, definitely, I want to make sure we're able to deal with that. And if this character is allowed to get into the White House and bring his soft core white supremacist way of doing things, which is to say things in a very soft, genteel voice. Meanwhile, he's enacting some of the most draconian Nazi-type tactics you can imagine. Then, I mean, we'll be looking back on Donald Trump as the good old days. This idea that there's a big difference between Democrat and Republican today is really just a huge, major misnomer.
No, I agree with you. The difference between Republican and Democrat is the difference between being lynched or just shot in the back of the head. Like, pick your poison. I mean, here in New York City, the real estate industry has been a big supporter of the likes of Donald Trump. I would, Michael Torrici, who is the racist that has no black people at his firm, Aero Property Advice, I would not be surprised if he's one of the biggest supporters of Donald Trump. So he's making money in the black community and then using that money to support politicians like Donald Trump on the local, statewide, and national level. And so we need to generate wealth in our own community so that we can use that money, like great men like Dr. Claude Anderson said, use that money to elect our own politicians who will serve our interests. But one of the problems in the black community, even with black politicians, is black politicians, Jewish or Asian folks, they get their votes in their in their community. So they're more black.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
They get their votes in the black community. But all their campaign comes from state interests, unions, corporate political action committees. And so they serve two masters. And that's why you see so many black elected officials that are useless when it comes to advocating and unapologetically fighting for the black community. And so we will never be able to contribute money to these black politicians and elect black politicians that serve our interests if we do not control the economy in our community. We need, and this is why the Harlem Real Estate Fund was established, we need to raise capital from black people and invest that capital back in our community. And here's the thing. In Harlem, 80% of the multifamily privately owned housing, so multifamily is anything that's more than 5 units, 5 apartments, 80% of that real estate is owned by the Jewish community. And I can tell you, the Jewish real estate interests of Harlem, they're not racist, they don't hate black people. They're just greedy. They will kick out Ms. Johnson, who pays $1,000 a month, and rent it to Tyrone, who will pay $2,500 a month. For them, it's purely business. They don't hate black people. But they would never do that in their community. You go to their community, you never treat their people like that. And so, what we need to do is come together as a community and start buying the real estate in our community so that we can protect our community and protect our people from displacement. I mean, yes, we can march, we can protest. I think Dr. He was very clear about, Dr. Torres was very clear that it has to be about economics. And that's why I'm a big student of Dr. Torres, Professor
Dr. Claude Anderson.
Claude. And until we get to controlling the economy, we will continue to be economic slaves in America. That's our reality.
Well, definitely, that's going to be something we need to watch out for here as well. And going forward, New York is a bellwether to watch out for. Somebody in the chat room said Michael Bloomberg isn't going to win. 4 years ago, most people except me, were saying the same thing. Most people were saying that Donald Trump couldn't win. The Republican Party was against him. The media is against him. Well, all those forces still are, and he's in the White House. So it's one of those things where if people are not paying attention, we have a tendency to think we can dismiss our problems. And that is not going to work. It doesn't happen. Understand something, people. Donald Trump, I was one of the first people and one of the only people did silver broadcasts where I explained how it would happen. I am the only person in media that you can look at over a year before it happened and explain the state was going to win, including Florida, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. Understand something. I'm looking at Michael Bloomberg. Michael Bloomberg is not new to politics. He's not like this Steyer guy. He's not new to politics. He's got deep pockets. He owns a media company. He has a lot of rich friends. He's got a lot of support. If anybody doubts that he can, I didn't say that he will, but if you're doubting that he can, you just have not been paying attention to politics in the last 100 years. Money matters. This man is a savvy political operator. He's got a lot of friends on both sides of the aisle. He's got tremendous corporate support. We shouldn't be naive about this. This is very much something to watch for. He's really soft-spoken. He really knows how to operate behind closed doors. People, this guy can do it. There's something that's come up here, Thomas, I need to address, but I'm going to go ahead and let you have the last word here before I go ahead and cut to something.
Yes, I want to say that I agree with you 100%. The strategy with these two billionaires, that people will be like, oh my God, thank God Donald Trump is no longer president. But Michael Bloomberg, with a smile, will do more damage than Donald Trump. Because we will see Donald Trump coming a mile away, but we will not see someone like Michael Bloomberg, who you will see a lot of what I call the bourgeois Negroes running after him to be friends with him and to say, oh, I'm so glad I opposed President Trump and I supported the new president, Michael Bloomberg. So I have to agree with you. This election could turn out to be two bad choices for us. So I just want to end by saying that for those people that are in New York and throughout the nation, please find my video where I'm chasing Michael Tolerici from Arrow Property Advisors out of an event, and please retweet that on Twitter and share it with as many people so that we can get the word out that in New York, the commercial real estate industry under the leadership of Michael Tolerici of Arrow Property Advisors is a racist, and they don't hire any black people. You can look at the firm and see that they had no employees, the faces of their employees, they had no black people. And together, if we organize on social media, we can put pressure and make an example out of Michael Tolerici so that the other white firms will think twice about continuing their racist business practices. And so I thank you for giving me, Thomas Lopez here of Harlem Real Estate Fund, LLC, the opportunity to speak this evening.
Well, let us know how that turns out for you.
Thank you so much.
Now, there's a lesson that I want to iterate for you here. I don't have anything against Hispanics. I don't. I understand that they are dealing with their interests, and I'm dealing with mine. So, first and foremost, before I make my next comments, let me be very, very clear. I don't have anything against Hispanics. So I don't want it to seem like, oh, I'm not concerned or whatever. The problem is, I do have a problem with the concept of a black-brown coalition. Because there isn't one. New York City, and my people who live in New York City, it is absolutely evident that there's no black-brown coalition. We don't have one. It would be very nice if there were, but as you all know, from some people who've been here at the Black Channel, for example, I don't want to say any names because I don't want to get Melissa in trouble, but they'll tell you that they got folks in their families, black people of Puerto Rican descent, telling you about how you need to stay away from niggas in America. Now, that's the one problem. But there is a flip side to it, which is what I was trying to get to. And then we need to break to deal with something else here. Folks, black politicians in New York have not been able to depend on black people for support, and that's the reality. That's the reality. So when you get done patting yourself on the back, by the way, black folk in New York do not support black politicians who try to promote their interests. Black folk, the black citizenry of New York, is out here talking about interracialism, LGBT, chasing celebrities, but nobody's putting their damn dollars down.
Thank you.
So before you get upset about black politicians talking about black and brown, by the way, I want to tell you the other side of that. Because I had to come all the way from Shreveport, Louisiana, to say that New York was the front line of the race war, because all you had were a bunch of dudes standing on street corners out there hollering about their own twist on religion. We are the tribe of Judah. We are the tribe of Israel. We are the real Jews. And nobody talking about we need to get our dollars up. So before you get offended that so much of your black political representation in New York says black and brown and black and Latino, it is because they have been unable to consistently depend on black people in New York for that hardcore support. Your Hispanic politicians don't have to say black and brown, they can just say brown. The black politicians don't have that. So while you're busy getting offended, by the way, if it ain't no dollars dropping, and if you're not going to stay consistent on support, it doesn't matter. In New York City, you have a bunch of old-ass black men and a bunch of worn-out old black women who ain't doing nothing else. That's the point I'm trying to make to you here. This is a hard lesson you have to learn. This is a hard lesson you have to learn. I didn't say you have to like it, but this is a hard lesson you must learn. Tell me why in the hell it took me, coming from Shreveport, Louisiana, to bring the gospel of black empowerment to 125th Street. Explain. When all them black folk you got standing up there in Harlem, breaking their arms, patting themselves in the back, acting as if it's some accolade to simply say you live in the city of New York. Why did I have to come all the way up there? I had to buy airtime on ABC Channel 3, Channel 2, whatever it is in New York. ABC, WABC in New York. I had to come do that. On Hot 97, I had to come do that. I had to come and buy that airtime because the black folk in New York weren't doing it. Yeah, you got all those black rappers out of New York, Channel 7, which, you know what? Here's the real thing. Great, we know what number the number is. Too bad we're number 0. I'm sorry. That offensive. You got all these rappers running around New York City and nobody is aggregating their money to prevent them from being run out of a rail. They're gentrifying the hell out of Harlem, but it ain't happening like that down there in Chinatown. Your black politicians have not been able to consistently depend on black support. It's not about knowledge, this is about willpower. Black folk in New York as a group don't want to represent being black. Or if they do, they take it off in some weird, wacky, drug-induced, esoteric, metaphysical psychobabble. But they don't keep it strapped down in the real world. So yes, when you talk to black people talking about politics in New York, they gotta say black and brown because black folk in New York are not serious as a group. As a group are not serious and not on their square. If they were, then the black folk in New York wouldn't have let Ken Thompson get away with what he did. If you'll all remember, black folk put Ken Thompson in the office, and after he let Peter Liane go for the murder of Akai Gurley, it was black people on my Facebook, black people on my Twitter, black people on the phone calling in here, defending Ken Thompson, talking about, well, you see, I mean, he did some good things for black folks, though. I mean, I know he let the cop go, but, you know, I mean, he did some other things that was good for black folks. Those were black people in New York lighting up my Facebook and lighting up my YouTube. And if you all remember, a couple of them had called up to defend Ken Thompson, talking about, well, yeah, I know he let the cop go for killing Akai Gurley, but you got to look at the other things he did. And then you wonder why your black political representation has to say black and Latino. We can't get black folk to hold black politicians to the fire. I'm talking about the citizenry. And when I came to New York and did it, they jumped on me. So what I'm telling you is who you're riding for. Who you're riding for. No, people, no. Don't try to push this off on being immigrants. Yeah, you got a good immigrant population up there, but can we just keep it real? The average black person in New York is not on a war footing. We're trying to turn the steering wheel on that, but the average one isn't. So we need to be real about that. We need to be real.
How do you do?
That is a serious situation that you gotta look at. We gotta be real about this. We gotta be real. In the chat room, I want Arius to give us a call. I'm gonna go ahead and unblock him. I got some things some housekeeping I need to do here, but I want Arius to give us a call. Go ahead and get his information in the chat room there. I want him to give us a call. Go ahead and have him give us a call up, and then he can go ahead and explain to us about what we don't understand and what we're getting wrong. He'll have a chance to do that, and that'll be good for him. So, yeah, you can go ahead and educate us on that. I'll be glad to see that. The telephone number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Wrong one. 646-787-1933. You can go ahead and give us a call at that. No, I don't have to worry about any of those things. Absolutely. I'm not talking about what you hypothesize. I'm talking about the real world. I'm talking about what we really deal with. Now, before I do anything else, however, there is a bit of housekeeping that I gotta do. A little bit of housekeeping that I have to do. Now, as you all know, a few days ago, we had to deal with this Democrat front group that calls itself ADOS, and that's not talking about people who are descendants of slaves. We are all, most of us listening here, are descendants of slaves. But as far as their Democrat front organization, they got sent on the run, and unfortunately, there's been some misinformation that's been given out. And the first bit of, I want to deal with a little bit of that right now. So there's a character, and you all know how I feel about these black academics. Well, one of these black academics, and you all remember Dr. Sheena Howard. Now, by the way, I don't have a PhD. I don't have a PhD. And yet somehow I'm able to send people with PhDs on the run. Somehow I get people with PhDs to back down and run everywhere. Somehow I'm able to do that. So, be that as it may, one of the people who was in that report, because, well, before I get to that right quick, let me go ahead and just remind people here. One of the things that happened here was we were dared, and you can take a look on your screen right now, and you can see the timestamps on this. December 24th was a vicious attack on Dr. Claude Anderson. And this is not about him being an elder. This is not about that. This is about the fact that this man has been consistently on the case for black people. He has done nothing to offend the black body politic. You're supposed to say that for people who are collaborators with white supremacy, which is what Mushmouth and Lockjaw have become. But if you take a look on the right, and we're going to deal with this real quick here. If you take a look on the right, if you all remember, I posted my video on December 25th at 7, well, I started broadcasting. December 25th is 7 p.m. This video that he was talking about here, as you can see, it says 11 a.m. He posted this video that morning. Well, by 7 p.m., him and Sandy Darity and the rest of their clique were trying to disown this video. He posted it that morning. So when I said, okay, let's go ahead and take a look at your report and let's go read it, they started backtracking and backpedaling from their own reports. Then they started saying that, oh, that report is old, but you posted it this morning. So if the report was so old, why did you post it this morning? Now, I said this on the Christmas program, but by the way, if the report was old, why did you post it 6 hours ago?
Dumbass.
If the report was old. Second of all, the report was put up last year. So they're trying to tell you that 2018 is a long time. You put it up last year. You posted it just last year. Now, can you really take seriously a group of people who post something at 11 a.m. and are disowning it? By 6 p.m., they're disowning it? They're telling everybody, go check out the report. Take a look at this. Here's a video I created connected to the report that explains it visually. And as soon as I said, hey, everybody, take a look at this video. Wait, that's old. No. That video don't matter. Why are you posting that video? He was the one saying, why did I post the video? It was old. Well, you kind of thought it was going to stay confined to him, but it wasn't. So you got this pseudo-economist. This is the guy who allegedly came up with the baby bonds idea that Corny Booker latched onto. This guy sat up here and did this. So you have a situation where after I posted this, Sandy Darity decides he wants to jump into the fray. Sandy Darity decides that he wants to jump into it because he got shown to be as clueless about economics as he is. I'm not throwing shots, I'm saying this guy doesn't know anything. So he started explaining This was after I put the report. All of them loved the report until I started reading it. Now they're all backtracking from the very report that 6 hours earlier they had been standing by. 6 hours earlier they were standing on it. 6 hours later when I started reading it, they started disowning it. Take a look at what he said. The very next day, December 26th, he's disowning the report. Oh, the report's old. The report is old. It was last year. What do you mean it's old? It was last year. It was last year. How is that? You're talking like this is it was posted just last year, and your boy Tongue Tied had just put it up this morning. But after I read it, you all start running from it. People, can we trust somebody who won't stand by the words that they said just this morning? I'm still waiting for Arius to call up. Speaking of people who won't stand by their words, I'm still waiting for Arius to call up. No shade, no hostility. The telephone lines are open. I want Arius to give us a call up. Don't be in the chat room, be on the phone. What's his area code? I'll talk to you. Don't be in the chat room, be on the phone. Don't talk about it, be about it. I'm not some tongue-tied special ed dropout who pretends that he's a lawyer and yet he never filed a lawsuit on behalf of reparations. I'm not that guy. I'm the real damn thing. I got PhDs and doctorates on the run. I don't have a problem with it. I got PhDs and doctorates on the run. No. You need to be on the phone. Whatever number he wants to call from, I'll get it. Just ask him what the area code is. He'll be on. People, I'm not that guy. I'm the real damn deal. So anyway, your Professor Sandy Candy Darity is now running from the very report that he made. He's now explaining all over the damn place. There seems to be some rhetorical hijinks being played out in recent exchanges on Twitter. It's not rhetoric, Sandy. It's repeating what you said. That's not rhetoric, sir. That's recitation. Look it up. The April 2018 doesn't matter. In fact, economics matters decisively. People, he said in the report that, quote, entrepreneurship will not close the racial wealth gap. They literally said entrepreneurship won't do it, financial education won't do it, buying black and banking black won't do it. This is what they said that morning. All I did was read the report. Now he's talking about, well, we never said that. We never said that. I think anybody would actually read your bull jive ass report and actually come back and say what it said. You just figured nobody would do that. That's the issue. So they want us to beg for a government job, give everybody reparations, but without financial education, what are you going to do with the reparations? So you have a so-called economics professor who knows nothing about economics, nothing at all, because he's never had to build an economy. He's never had to employ people. He's never had to have people do contract work on a regular basis where he has to pay them. He's a lifelong employee of the public sector, so his only advice to all of us is, we'll get a public sector job. He says what the report says is autonomous or pure self-help activities by black folk will not eliminate the core economic disparity, the black-white wealth disparity. Amazing. All of a sudden, it's no longer the racial wealth gap. All of a sudden, it's the black-white wealth disparity. Interesting, because when you wrote the report, it wasn't the black-white wealth gap. It was the racial wealth gap. Stay on the line, Arius. We'll get to you. Stay on the line. I'm doing a little bit of house cleaning here. Stay put. You'll be fine. It says the report doesn't even say that self-help efforts should not be pursued. It does say without a major redistribution of wealth toward black folk. Whoa, that's not what your report said.
Exactly.
It didn't say redistribution toward black folk. It said we need to do a plan for all Americans. So, brothers and sisters, the so-called academic who allegedly teamed up with Tongue-Tied, he's now on the run from his own report. He's misrepresenting it and saying said things he didn't say. He won't stand by the language in his own report now. Now that somebody's actually read it. Can you really trust somebody like this who won't stand by his own words 6 hours later simply because I read it? All I did was read the report. That was all I did, folks. I didn't do anything else. All I did was read it, and he won't stand by his own report now. So we're going to trust this guy? He's going to sit up here and try to throw shade about it? Dude, you won't even stand by your own report. Let me remind you all again, this is what it said. Let me put it on your screen so that you all can see it clearly. This is what the report said. You tell me if this lines up with what he's claiming it said now.
Hell no.
Addressing racial wealth inequality. So when he talks to us as black folk, it's the black-white wealth disparity. But when he was writing his report with his white friends, it was the racial wealth inequality. Addressing racial wealth inequality will require a major redistributive effort, there's that phrase again, or another public policy intervention to build black American wealth. This could take the form of a direct race-specific initiative like a dramatic reparations program tied to compensation for the legacies of slavery and Jim Crow, and or an initiative that addresses the perniciousness of wealth inequality for the entire American population. The entire American population. Candy, Sandy, Darity, those are your words, brother. I use the words brother advisedly. Those are your words. And 3 days ago, you stood by them. As soon as I read them, all of a sudden, you don't want to stand by your words anymore, Sandy. It sounds like people need to stop listening to highfalutin, know-nothing academics because clearly they gave you a degree and you're getting your ass whooped by a guy who doesn't have a PhD. Simply because I'm literate. So let me get this straight. The illiterates bow and applaud you, but the literate people don't. Interesting. An initiative that addresses the perniciousness of wealth inequality for the entire American population, which could disproportionately benefit black Americans due to their exceptionally low levels of wealth. Indeed, the two strategies, reparations for America's record of racial injustice or the provision of the equivalent of a substantial trust fund for every wealth-poor American, need not be mutually exclusive. You got a lot of explaining to do, Mr. So-called professor. You got a lot of explaining to do. Oh, I'm sorry, you've already started explaining. You already started explaining. But let's be very clear, Sandy Darity threw his empty numbskull hat in the ring to attack Dr. Claude Anderson. Yes, he did. This is how far they're willing to go about this. Now, there's some internet stalker. I don't know who this chick is, but there have been a number of females stalking me. And okay, they're just stalking the hell out of me online. But all right, I guess I need to be next to a real man. I mean, this is as close as they can come to a real man, which I can understand their desperation. They're living a life of quiet desperation. If the only male I was able to hang out with was Tongue-Tied, I'd be stalking a dude like Jason Black online too. But this is what they said. Now, brothers and sisters, I said, quote, you have to keep an eye on these old niggas. I've warned people for years. you got to keep an eye on them, and they tried to twist that into saying you can't trust anybody who's old. I didn't say that. I said you need to keep an eye on all of them. You got to keep an eye on all of them. Now, Sandy Darity, dude, just understand something. You are endorsing these exact same bootlicking niggas who you're sitting up here co-signing now. Just understand, these folk are going to be going after you. Because you one of them old dudes. I just thought I would remind you. Brothers and sisters, we gotta watch all these old folk. We gotta watch all of them. And we have watched Dr. Claude Anderson, and he has been completely rock solid. So there's nothing for us to watch. Dr. Claude Anderson has been rock solid. We've watched Dr. Claude Anderson. He's been rock solid. That's the problem. There's no reason to be talking crap about him. He's one of the real ones. He's solid. Sandy Darity is one of these old academics I told y'all about. Nobody knew who he was until Tongue Tied started name dropping him every 3 seconds. Sandy Darity ain't nobody. What's he ever done? Before Tongue Tied, nobody knew he existed. So you have a lot of failed old academics who wish they could get the shine and the respect that somebody like a Dr. Claude Anderson gets. Let me just say this before I drop this subject. I'm picking up a lot of LGBT energy off of this whole squad. I'm picking up a bunch of LGBT energy. I am. I'm just picking up a bunch of LGBT energy from all of them. All of them this all strikes me as being very, very heavy-handed. I'm smelling perfume on everybody except that. But I'm just smelling I'm smelling Bath and Body Works on everybody. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm smelling Bath and Body Works on everybody. Everybody involved here. That's what I'm smelling flowers and lilacs and lavender.
Okay.
Is it just me? Is it just me? Am I the only one smelling tulips and sandalwood? Is it just me? Is it just me? Am I wrong? Chat room's cracking up, but is it just me? Am I the only one? Am I the only one picking it up? It's just me? How long is it gonna be before that rainbow flag shows up, Candy Sandy? How long is it gonna be if it's not there already? Because that's all I'm seeing now. I'm seeing a bunch of folk up here with their rainbow flags and LGBT and a bunch of females wearing suspenders and Timberlands and a bunch of dudes wearing skinny jeans and tank tops with lisps. We just need to use our imagination. So I don't know. Maybe y'all need to figure out who's about that life and who's real about it. We're gonna go ahead and open up the telephone lines here now. I'm being told that this line is this Arius calling from Asia or wherever.
Yeah, this is me.
Okay, Arius, you had something you wanted to tell us.
Nothing. It's like just there's way too much compromise with the black and Hispanic. There's noise is like, oh, by the way, good morning, so.
Okay, what is the compromise?
Yeah.
Well, it just seems like everybody's going through all these situational ethics. It's more like, okay, now you have who you want to on your program, and that's some great information, by the way. My problem is with you, it's just like every 5 seconds it's got black and Spanish, black and brown, black and brown. I'm like, hey, guys, whose side are you on?
Okay, whoa, slow down. Arius, slow down. What does that have to do? You heard what I said. Did you not hear what I said?
I heard what you said perfectly, and it made
Oh, okay. So now we got that straight. That you heard what I said. At least you claim you did. So let me go there. You claim you heard what I said. So what does that have to do with me?
No, I was talking about him.
Okay, because understand something. There's a reason I meant what I said. I'm not tongue-tied. I'm not Candy, Sandy, Darity. I ain't none of them weak, spineless niggas. I ain't none of them. No, I'm not none of them. I'm not gonna back down from what I said a few minutes ago because it's consistent. And black folk can live with that. It's consistent.
You to back down.
Slow down, Aries.
Yeah,
Stop. I'm not going to do the black Ayatollah on you. Don't worry about it. Not unless you start talking like some other folks. I'm not going to do the black Ayatollah on you, so don't worry about it. My point is, we have to understand as black people, we keep sending soldiers into battle with no weapons. And we got to own that too. We sent Dr. Claude Anderson. We sent Dr. Claude Anderson into battle with no resources for 40 damn years. We sent Dr. Claude Anderson into battle for 40 damn years by himself. We keep wearing out and burning out our soldiers. So what I'm saying is, it's difficult for us to maintain a code with the political class because the political class can only, there's only two ways to punish a politician. There's only two ways. Number one, starve him of votes. Number two, starve him of money.
Hello?
Those are the only two ways that you can punish a politician. We keep going into battle with not enough votes and no money. So we force the people who would carry the water for us to start, quote, being creative. We force them. I mean, on the one hand, now you all know I have taken Maxine Waters to woodshed every chance I get. But by the same token, with black people only being 7% of the damn population and 1% of the wealth, no wonder Maxine has got to say black and brown because she doesn't have sufficient enough black support to hold on to her office. Neither politically nor economically. Meanwhile, the Asians are tearing up the real estate. No wonder Andrew Yang, brother, I imagine in Tokyo the Asians would be running the yard. You're in Tokyo, I imagine.
Not just the Japanese, but the Koreans and the Chinese. The Chinese have their own little section of Shinjuku. They control it completely.
Well, I imagine.
Okay, now I don't know if you've ever been to Tokyo before, but like you have Shibuya, Shinjuku, you have Meguro, and all that. Now Shinjuku, the Chinese, they completely control that. Then in like Yokohama, you have one side of Yokohama that's on the Toyota line. They have their own. The Koreans have their own little neighborhood, and they control that. As a matter of fact, the entire pachinko industry here in Japan is controlled by the Koreans. I've been studying how these Asians move and like get their little conglomerates and pool their money and like basically move legislation here in Asia.
As black people, we don't have that. As black people, we don't have that. So what I'm saying is, what you're saying is that's very applaudable. But I'm just saying, for black folk here, I want everybody to understand. Jason, I made it very clear. I'm like, hey, I'm not on the black Hispanic thing, and I made that very clear. But I want everybody here to understand. Well, Jason, why is it? If I didn't respond the way that they think I should, first of all, I'm responding properly. But second of all, we need to understand in places like New York and places like California, we have really sent black politicians off with no weaponry. And take a look at places that do. Well, take a look at what happens in places where we do have the majority of the numbers and can put together city councils or state legislatures, at least with a good number of black folk, but particularly city councils. Take a look at Detroit. Take a look at Chicago. Take a look at New Orleans. Take a look at Atlanta. But then you go to where the money is, and your black politicians have to bend the knee to the people with the resources. So it becomes a situation where the best they can do to hang on, we either get somebody who is already a bought and paid for puppet, or we get somebody who is only going to be able to be consistent for us some of the time, because the powers that be and the money people are going to chip away at the edges to make sure that even if he's there, he can't get anything done. So it forces you into a situation where you, even if it is a futile effort, we wind up having to at least plead out for coalitions, even if they're not there, because black people as a group in these areas like New York, have refused to become the super majorities necessary to throw some real damn weight around. And when we do throw our weight around, we pick up the Ken Thompsons and then go caping for him. So that's what we end up doing.
I saw what Kim Thompson did. I saw that whole situation, that whole Peter Liang situation played out from over here. I'm telling you right now, brother took an L on that. It was all over the Japanese news. It was embarrassing.
Well, I mean, we put our, and every other day it seems I get an email or a text message from somebody about Detroit. And please don't email me about Detroit. People, I did a documentary about Detroit. But black folk are very unhappy about that. And yes, I'm going to say something else. The radio stations that had me, that were so much supporting me for gentrified and whatnot and had me on, none of them responded about race war, by the way. In case anybody was wondering. By the way, when Race War came out, none of those stations, and I wrote some of them, none of those people wanted to fool with me when Race War came out. I just thought I'd remind everybody, Jason, why didn't you go back? Because they wouldn't have me. So gentrified was one thing. When Race War came out, and all of a sudden, they weren't on it. So I just thought I'd remind people. I did tell people I was going to bring invoices. By the way, none of those radio stations, none of them. Maybe that'll change in the future. None of those radio stations, none of those hosts, after I contacted them for Race War, nobody even responded. Not only did they not have me on, they didn't even respond. Now that's Detroit. If you want to know why black folk are in the damn situation that you're in today in Detroit, there's your representation. Now that's me as an outsider from Louisiana going to Detroit. Can you imagine what it's like for the black politicians who they got to win election and gotta win re-election, and they can't do it based on our ideas of nostalgia or on our principles of what black unity is supposed to be? You got whole cities, and in some cases whole damn states of black people who are hella off code. They're off code.
Can I jump in here real quick? Man?
Yes.
Okay, well, the main thing is like, you know, when you look at a whole lot of radio stations that are actually like independent or like urban radio stations, those are primarily Negro Greeks that are like, they're recruiting from the Negro Greeks. Like, you know what they said, what was this, Rick Smiley, who you went off on a couple of days ago. These were the same people that were backing up Kamala Harris. You know, these HBCUs. It's like, I'm like, whoa, exactly where in Africa is Greece? People take a side, because it's like, it's so, I don't know, everybody seems to be compromising every 5 seconds, and I'm like, hey, look.
Well, that's politics. I mean, slow down. Eric, slow down. First of all, you do understand that's the definition of politics. Politics doesn't work without compromise. Unless you have a super majority, you're not going to get everything you want. There may be 5 things you want, you're gonna get 2 or 3 of them. But we put our politicians in a situation where they have to. I understand what you're saying. We keep putting out, as distasteful as it is, what I'm telling you is that this is a result of being off code for the people. The politicians reflect the positions of the people, brother. They respect the positions of the people. The people as a group, we're trying to get everybody on code now, but the people as a group are off code, man. They're off code as a group.
Yeah, you're true.
So,
you're absolutely correct.
Dr. Claude Anderson was talking about how, you know, when he went to Detroit, Couldn't get nothing done
Oh,
out of the Detroit City Council. Remember that. Couldn't get anything done out of the very same Detroit City Council. Now that's them, okay? But tell me, where was the mass uprising by black people in Detroit against the political class for that betrayal? The politicians did it because they knew there was nothing to fear from the rank and file black citizen. With an 80% black population, they knew that speaking against black people was better than speaking for black people.
Mm-hmm. You and I, we have no disagreement.
Okay, so understand, when you hear guys, and like I say, I make my position on these things clear, but I want you all to be clear about the realities of the environments that they find themselves in. I don't live in New York. I try to stay away from there as much as I damn well can. Okay, but I'm not driving down Amsterdam. Okay, but understand, I'm not driving down Amsterdam. I'm fucking in New York. I'm not driving down Amsterdam seeing all the Cuban flags. I'm not driving through Spanish Harlem where they got all that damn, I shouldn't say damn, but they got all that mariachi, well not mariachi music, but they got their salsa music playing. I'm trying to be diplomatic. I'm trying not to be the black guy, so I'm trying to be diplomatic. Look, going through Spanish Harlem, dude. I mean, if anybody who's been in New York, if you've gone through Spanish Harlem, you know it's like a damn fairgrounds all the time. It's neon light, there's music playing all over the place. Okay, those are people who can vote too.
Don't go to Colorado then.
Oh, okay, well, forget Colorado. I'm just talking about I'm here talking about just New York. You don't have any black representation in Colorado. In New York, you have some black representation, but take a look at where they are. Yes, the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Jamaica, Turks and Caicos, wherever you want to be from. That's what you see when you go through those black areas of Detroit, because the white folks won't let the immigrants come there. But in the areas like Harlem, that's what you're dealing with. In Spanish Harlem, that's what you're dealing with. In the Bronx, that's what you're dealing with. In Brooklyn, that's what you're dealing with. In Long Island City, that's what you're dealing with. In Queens,
My family's there.
well, remember, they were talking about years ago in Queens, that Queens had basically one of the only areas in America, you can count them on one hand, one of the only areas in America where the black people in that area make more money than the whites is Queens, New York. But most of those black folk are immigrants. So what I'm telling you is that, okay, but immigrants from where? Some of them are from Africa, but others are from the Dominican Republic, and so on and so forth. So brother, what I'm telling you is that we've forced our politicians into a situation where when you talk about the quote, black vote, you're talking about black Latinos who don't identify as black. They identify as black second, not first. That's what I'm trying to say. So while I don't compromise about addressing black folk, I do understand the situation that black politicians in New York are in, because black people in New York ain't held it down. And the very fact that I had to come from Shreveport, Louisiana, to come bring the gospel of black empowerment and buy the billboards and buy the radio time, when you got all these so-called black millionaires up there on 125th Street and standing on the corners, and all these so-called black businesses in New York who won't lift a damn finger to help themselves against gentrification, I had to come from Louisiana and bring the gospel because they're all too scared or too bootlicking to do it. Hell yeah, you're gonna have a lot of your black politicians having to say black and Latino because they can't win an election otherwise. That's the problem. Because black people as a group, the principles of black people in these areas is ain't no code. That's where we have forced them into that situation. So if you want to know why it is I didn't jump off about it, because I understand the environment. I've been there. I was the guy who told y'all it was over for black folk in New York. I told you that because I'm counting too many Jamaican, Dominican, Cuban, Mexican. I'm counting too many foreign flags in Harlem. I'm counting too many.
Yep.
It's a numbers game now. So am I going to just try to ignore the reality? No, that doesn't mean that I stop something for black folk, but when it comes to that New York area, yeah, you're going to have to adjust your vocabulary. You're going to have to. You don't have a choice, because when you say the black vote, you're talking about how much you figure the black vote in New York is actually on code. How much of the black vote in New York, you have the black vote in New York who vote, okay, and how many of them are on code? And then you got this mass of black people from foreign places who don't identify as black first, they identify as Latino first, because they're telling themselves they have some camaraderie with the white Latinos. Because we're all from the same island, don't you know? That's the situation we're putting our politicians in, man. That's the situation we're, and to whoever was in the damn chat room talking about his last name, understand something here. How'd that work out for you with Charlie Rangel? We can go down the damn list of you. How'd that work out for you with Ken Thompson? Those ain't no Hispanic last names. How'd that work out? How'd that work out, people? You're not dealing with the reality. I don't teach you all how to deal with fantasy or what we wish. I teach you how to deal with the reality. We got a bunch of black folk up there in that area. Yes, many of them, like I said, for the ones who see themselves as black first, I'm going to work with them. But for the ones who see themselves as Latino first, I'm not a politician. I have the luxury of being able to say, I don't care about the Latino vote. Your black politicians don't have that luxury, because we didn't do what the Asians have done. We stripped them of the ability to have that luxury. They can't talk to the Latinos the way that Steve King and Donald Trump. We stripped them of their ability to do that. They can't talk that way. Our black politicians can't talk like that. The white ones in the Jewish neighborhoods and whatnot, they can sit up here and filibuster and ethnically cleanse the schools like they're doing in upstate New York and in Nantucket, upstate New York, was it Nassau County, like they're doing up there. They can ethnically cleanse those areas, and they can sit up here and say who they're doing it for, but their people are on code and have given them the luxury and the ability to do it. We don't give our politicians that. Hell, half the damn black voters out here are talking about LGBT and we all Americans, man. Come on now. I'm not telling anybody to dismiss it. I'm not saying that. I am saying that no matter who the politician is, black or white, we need to get them to give us specific standards so that no matter what they say to anybody else, no matter what they say, that we still make sure we secure tangibles for ourselves. Because understand something, brother, if a politician takes care of giving us the resources we need, I'm not concerned about what happens with anybody else. I'm really not. I'm really not. You know why? Mm-hmm. Because when black people have the proper resources, we run rings around everybody. I don't give a damn if you give them 5 times as much money. Every single black restaurant in America that we all know by name, Sylvia's, and you all know the list. Every single one we all talk about. When you go to any city, the biggest populous restaurant's the black one. If it's got proper funding, the people are lined up. They're lined up. So we don't even need, these other people need extra money to compensate for their lack of black excellence. When we bring black excellence, nobody else can touch us with 10 times the money. With black excellence, nobody can touch us. So as long as we get what we need, I'm not really concerned about everybody else. So you can talk about what you're going to do for Latinos, that's great and everything. As long as we're taken care of. Because right now, black people, our political strategy right now has been to take care of everybody else. And if we get nothing, well, Jesus would have done. As we need to make sure our politicians take care of the priority. You're never going to have a politician who says, who's going to ignore everybody else at this point, not in black society, unless we give them a super majority that they need. Well, we ain't doing that. Even though we need to, we're not at a place to be able to do that right now. And right now, the way that they done stacked the damn deck in New York, they're giving damn driver's licenses to the illegals. So it's only going to be a matter of time before those folks have the ability to vote. So in many places here, I understand it may frustrate some of y'all, but in many cases here, people, we've already lost. We're going to have to fall back and regroup from another position. As far as I'm concerned, in California, as a group, we've already lost. Colorado, we've already lost. New York, as far as I'm concerned, with the sole exception of Brooklyn and northern Manhattan, and take a look at how we screwing up there, we lost. We're going to fall back. That's why I was so hard on Philadelphia. You got too many damn black folk in Philadelphia with too much access to too much money. Louisiana is a poor state. Let me say that again. Louisiana is a poor state. We ain't got money like that. We don't get investment like that. New York is a rich state. Pennsylvania is a rich state. Florida is a rich state. Texas is a rich state. California is a rich state. Louisiana is a poor state. Because it's lorded over by too many white supremacists who would rather see the whole state be poor as long as they get to be lord of the ashes. But you don't have that. That's not the case in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's a rich state. Maryland's a rich state. Why am I seeing Baltimore in the conditions it's in when Maryland's a rich state? Why am I seeing Harlem in the conditions in when New York is a rich state? Not a rich city, a rich state.
Hello there.
Virginia really is a rich state. Certainly compared to the Deep South, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama. These other places are rich states. And I'm seeing it be squandered. You have sizable black populations in rich states not doing what the Asians would do if the Asians had those numbers. If the Asians had the numbers that black people have in Philadelphia, what the hell do y'all think it would look like? In Louisiana right now, if black folk in Louisiana, even if we had, it would still take a time to build it up because we have some ports and whatnot, but even if we had all the numbers necessary to do anything and everything I'm talking about, it would still take a while to get that done because the infrastructure's not there. It would have to be built. They deliberately starved the state of the infrastructure to make sure nothing gets done. Because they're trying to stall us from progressing as long as they possibly can. But there's not the economic resources and the economic infrastructure in place to do that. When you go to Philadelphia, you got a major international airport there. You don't have that in Louisiana. Hell, do you have an international airport in the state of Mississippi? I think there may be one that calls itself that. But come on, you can't compare any airport in the state of Louisiana or the state of Mississippi to Philadelphia International Airport. You can't compare them. You can't compare the two. Then you have a place like Texas or Florida with international airports from the top of the state to the bottom. You're damn right I'm on Philadelphia's ass. You're damn right I'm on Philadelphia's ass. If we had those resources, imagine what we could do. Take a look how the South took over rap music. And I'm saying to everybody else, I'm not saying this to down you. I'm saying this to get you on your square. I'm saying this as a drill sergeant to say, hey, get on your square. Y'all supposed to have it popping.
Sir?
I'll let you have the last one.
We're not in this at all.
Well, then in that case, I won't hold you up too long with your international minute. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Brothers and sisters, like I say, we have to deal with the realities of what we're up against, not the fantasies of what we wish we were dealing with. I will not compromise on where I stand for black people, but I understand the things I'm hearing.
Right.
So for those of you who live in places like Arkansas and Alabama and other states where you don't have a strong Latino population that's mixed in like that, New York is a different type of animal, and the days of Adam Clayton Powell have been over. Adam Clayton Powell had a black population that was on code. When Marcus Garvey showed up in New York, it was a black population that, for the most part, because there were problems out that generation, they were on code, a hell of a lot better than we saw during the Civil Rights generation.
Damn.
Marcus Garvey met a black population that was on code in large numbers, and there wasn't a Latino population or non-black population to dilute it. Adam Clayton Powell was on the tail end of that on-code black population. Today, If anybody thinks that the black population of New York City as a group, I'm not talking about singling out individuals or factions, if anybody believes that the black population of New York today as a group is on code, I want you all to answer one simple question for me. If Bad Body, what's his name, Danielle Bregoli, or I forget the other white girl, Whoa Vicky, if they showed up on 124th Street, standing right in front of the Hebrew Israelites, what do you think black people's reaction would be?
You don't belong there. Hey,
If they showed up at the corner of 125th Street twerking, what do you think the reaction of the population at their 125th Street would be? I'm asking an objective question. I'm asking you an objective question right now. If you believe that the majority of black people in New York are on code, if you believe that, then tell me, what do you think would happen if those white girls showed up shaking their little bony asses? Come on now. How do you think the black population would act? How do you think they would respond? The Hebrew Israelites, to their credit, the Hebrew Israelites would probably be on their necks. But they would be the only ones, and they wouldn't be on their necks very damn long, because the average black citizen in Harlem would yank them up. The average black citizen would gather around and tell the Hebrew Israelites that it's the 21st century, it's post-racial America, we're all Americans. Come on now. Now you're giving me your fantasy. You're giving me your fantasy now. In your mind, the fantasy plays out that the Hebrew Israelites would be the strong, respected black men with their booming voices, and that they would stand up for the people in the community and stand up for black identity and would cleanse the area of the interlopers. That's the fantasy playing out in your head. Hey, nigga, let me wake you up. In the real damn world, the Hebrew Israelites raised their voices, and a bunch of weave-wearing, tatted up, fresh out the pen, hardcore, chiseled-ass bed wenches and hoes would run up and tell them, whoa, Vicky, and catch me outside. That's my home girl. I love them. Don't be saying nothing about them. You hate women's. We need to be honest with ourselves about that. We need to be honest. Yeah, the fantasy as it plays out in your head, the fantasy is, well, yeah, the soldiers would stand up for the people and the people would gather around and support them. In reality, the reality of it is something. I don't say this to be critical. I say this so that those of you who are living in a dream world where you're telling yourself that all it takes is one black person or a group of black people to stand up for black folk and everybody else is just going to get on code. No, everybody is not going to get on code. We got to get everybody on code, which Black Channel is trying to do with our meager resources. We got to get everybody on code so that we can begin the process of when those situations occur, other people gather around. But we need to quit bull jiving about the situation in which we find ourselves. Because it's not a game. And it's not funny when you have black folks standing up for black people and not getting the proper level of support, so you force them to look for it elsewhere. That's not cool either. That's not all right either. That's not okay. Now, I know that's going to be a hard pill for some of you to swallow, and I get that. But we do too much of this make-believe stuff. We're living in a dream world. We do too much of that. Way too much of it. And that's why I'm saying, okay, enough is enough there. We really need to deal with this situation about not being realistic about where we're at. It doesn't mean that we drop our principles. We're not ever going to do that. We're not ever going to do that. But don't sit up here and tell me that black folk as a group are doing what they're supposed to be doing up there in those areas. That's not what's happening. That is not what's occurring. So let's just be real about where we at so that we can get where we need to be. But don't sit up here and sell people on this idea that everything is all right and we just need to stop being our own worst enemies and all this old mess. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that at all. That's not cool. Not only is it not cool, it's not accurate, it's not right. Don't do that. As black people, we need to be realistic about the situation that we find ourselves in. And the situation that we're in right now is a situation where we have taught people that as a group, we're not on code. That's what needs to change. As a group, we need to get on code as a group so that people can actually stand up for us. That doesn't mean that we allow them to ignore us in the interim. Absolutely not. But if you can't expect your politicians to be on code when I'm walking down 125th Street and I'm seeing off code all over the damn place. You all want to know what off code looks like? Off code looks like the front of the Apollo Theater today. If you saw my documentary Gentrified, you know what I don't know what you all think the Apollo Theater looks like today. If you're watching Showtime at the Apollo, you are so damn out of touch with the actual condition of black folk in Harlem. If you all remember in Sandman Sims, people, that's not the Apollo Theater today. That is not the Apollo Theater today. You're going to help us and you don't even have a realistic idea of what we're dealing with? Before we get on code, you got to get on information. Caller from 770, you're on live with Black Channel.
Hey, Jason, this is Gary out of Atlanta.
Gary out of Atlanta, what's on your mind, brother?
What's going on, brother? I just want to say I'm mad tonight. I really am about a lot of things and something personal, but what struck me was your caller from New York talking about why crime is going on, or why black people are selling drugs or whatever they're doing. But Carl Anderson said it on that Breakfast Club. He said that you got three types of black people: the corporate, who ain't going to bring nothing to the neighborhood because they're in the white neighborhood. You have the blue collar, which is what the Walmart, the Target, the forklift driver, whatever it may be. So their money's not really doing too much change in the community. Then you have the criminals. They're going to be the ones that bring more of the money to the community. And so something personally happened with my nephew, and he found out that his pregnant girlfriend was escorted this past Christmas.
Okay, brother. Okay, I don't want to hit the Young and the Restless music on you. But
No. I just let me say this, please, Jason. Please,
okay.
It's upsetting, but I think it's a point that they, the white community, like you said, they spread information, and the information is spread about who's selling drugs, who's selling sex, who's doing this, who's doing that. That shows you that they're on code. You know what I'm saying?
That's very good. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We get a caller from 347. You're on live with Black.
Hey, Brad.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Born. I'm from New York City.
Born from New York. What's on your mind, brother?
Yeah, how you doing? Let's call it the right time. Let me just expose myself. Basically, I'm born and raised in New York City, Harlem to be exact. My parents, both of them, and all my family members, the 4 years from Haiti. So I'm first generation in New York City. hung out and everything in New York, I feel like I definitely had a black experience in America, and I hear a lot of separation when I listen to the ADOS or whatever. I always felt that it was a organization that's kind of like a black lives matter organization, lesbians, women, and all of that. But what I basically want to say, I wanted to just explain myself first, but what I basically want to say is, black. How do you feel about somebody like me who grew up in New York City, God body Pakistan at 5 years, I mean at 15 years old, 14 years old, met Khalid Muhammad, been to the Million March, been to the Million Youth March in Harlem under Khalid Muhammad, been to the Million Man March with Farrakhan. Basically, live in Harlem, my own property there, a condominium that I got in 2009. Young, I'm 40 years old now, so I'm not,
Okay. Well, give me the reader's digest first. Let me get straight to your question.
Okay, so my question is this: I feel like, why do you feel like the immigrants in New York City were not on code? When me growing up in New York City, I was surrounded by the immigrant community. Not all of them. Especially the community.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem. What you just said, that's the problem. Right there, what you just said. That's the problem.
What's that?
Now, I need you to understand that what you just said, that was the problem. Because what we try to do...
That's what you said?
Yes. What we try to do is we try to cherry pick. And, I know this one over here. And I know a couple of them over there. And I know... See, here's the problem in New York City. The problem in New York City is that most black people define not racist by sexual access. As long as you can meet somebody who doesn't mind squatting on a black, anyway, as long as you meet somebody who don't mind snuggling up in bed with a black person or with yourself, I'm not saying you personally, but as long as that person's willing to give us sexual access, we toss everything else out the window. And then all of a sudden it becomes, we are the world, we are the children. And that's where we get things screwed up at. So as the problem, brother, is as a group, these other groups vote their self-interest. They are very quick to stop us and correct us and say, I'm not black, I'm Haitian. They're very quick. They don't identify as black. They identify as Haitian, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Jamaican. They don't identify as black. We identify as black without regard to where your lineage comes from. What you're seeing right now is a response to whole groups of people across America. Brother, if this was only happening in New York, this wouldn't be occurring. If New York were the only place, the problem is this resonates across America. Every black person in America, all of us started comparing notes and saying, hey, is this happening to y'all down there in Houston? Houston's like, yeah, that's happening with these Somalis. Up there in Minnesota, is that happening with you? Yeah, with these Sudanese, they do the same thing. What about those of you over there in Chicago? Yeah, these Nigerians do the same thing to us. So then we all started comparing notes and like, I'll be damned. It's not just New York, they're doing this everywhere.
Yeah, but you do get that wake-up call, especially in New York City, when you have Admiral Lima, he was Haitian, he got hit with the plunger up his ass a couple of times. We had Al Sharpton and everybody coming together, fighting for us, when Spain and Haitian brought AIDS in the 90s. People coming together, shaking up the Brooklyn Bridge, 200,000-300,000 people. It's time that you come together and you get that wake-up call when you know
but I don't need to see it 24/7. I don't need to see it right when niggas get in trouble.
Hey, I'm black. I also am black since I was came out the womb, my mother's womb. Yes, I carry that Haitian flag, but at the same time, being born in America, I understand that I'm Haitian. You black, you're from Louisiana, and you understand that there's a long history of Haitians and people who came to Louisiana after the Haitian Revolution, all the mulattoes and everybody who ran from Haiti and went to Louisiana. Where are they right now?
Well, here's the thing. Now, in a place like Louisiana, what you're referring to, those who came here 100 years ago have been assimilated. Problem. We've had a major influx of black immigrants in the last 30 years. They're doing everything again. We have a major influx who don't have any historical ties, have not been fighting white supremacy for a century. They identify with white supremacy in their homeland, and they come here, or at the very least, they don't identify as black, they identify as other, and then they come here. So the black folk who arrived here 140 years ago, they were on code. 100 years ago, on code. 80 years ago, on code. 50 years ago, mostly on code. The last 30 years, they free agents, they renegades. They're doing what they want to do. Now, you don't see as much of them here because it's not as welcome, because as a state, as far as blackness as a state, Louisiana is on code about that and nothing else. So they go to places like New York, where off code is the law. They go to Philadelphia, where off code is the law. Baltimore, off code is the law. Florida, off code is the law. California, off code, you get my point. Minnesota, off code is the law. So they will be accepted there by the greater black population, even though they're being off code. They're going to these hotbeds and these hot epicenters where off code is the law. And those are the places that I specifically identify as there ain't nothing we can do with them. Now, for an individual like yourself who's on code with us, you don't have a problem. We are not saying what we're saying for the purposes of excluding anybody. We're saying this because we got to get this house in order, because in order for us to discipline these individuals who are being used as wedges by the white supremacist structure, bringing them over here to be a wedge to dilute us, before we can deal with that, we got to get ourselves together. We have to have a cohesive identity of our own, because you can't flex on other people if your muscles are weak.
I understand, and that's a factor of it. One thing before I leave, because I think this was a good conversation, but one thing before I leave, I want everybody to understand that the first domino to fall to end slavery and to bring that black fist up was in Haiti. Before that, every nation built their nation with slaves. I don't care if it was the imperialists, I don't care if they were the Great War with China, everybody was slaves. Haiti stopped that. We were the first government to stop that. We passed the baton, right? Like those years that you just said earlier, these last 30 years, people are not employed. You got to understand that this baton is getting passed, and we are fighting for the black unity. You understand? And the word black, you know what I'm saying? The first black nation was Haiti. That's all I'm going to leave this conversation with.
Well,
I support y'all, but
I understand what you're saying. Haiti's not the first black nation, but I get what you're talking about. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. And let me say something here. I've got many people who are children of immigrants or direct immigrants. I've got many of them. And those are my people. You all know Samuel Alarafe. Sam is not my friend. Sam is my brother. Sam is not to me. He's not just somebody. That dude has rode with me from day damn me one. He can ask me for anything, and I would do it. With a minimum of questions, which out of Jason Black is hell of an accomplishment. Family directly from Nigeria. That is my brother. It's not my friend, that is my brother. I am not a respecter of persons. Where you come from isn't disqualifying you. I need everybody, especially the immigrants, I need you all to be the most active to get everybody on code. Because you're letting people sit up here in your houses and in your apartments, and you're letting them sit up here and tell you that they're not really black, and they're giving white supremacy a pass, and talking all this we are the world stuff. That's the problem. They're talking all this we are the world stuff. That's the issue. So I need everybody to get together. We can't cherry pick. We can't do that. We have got to have a thinning of the herd. We've got to filter it. We have to do this. Understand something. Descendant of slaves is merely our way of saying who the hell is down and who isn't. because the descendants of the slaves, and since Haiti hasn't had slavery in it hasn't had institutionalized chattel slavery in 140 years, Haiti's definition of its stance toward non-black people has been corrupted. The Haiti of 1804 don't have that heart anymore. And we're trying to help them get that heart back. Because they don't have it right now. They don't have it. The heart's gone. So we are doing, as Dr. John Henry Clark said, we are tapping them on the shoulder to tell them, get your house in order. We're at war out here, and your house is out of order. You are off code. That's right. Botham Jean's family is a textbook example of why the descendants of the slaves have to enforce a code now. Because the people from Haiti and St. Lucie and whatever don't have a code. I'm not going to say they're not enforcing the code. They don't have one. We are creating a code because these other people do not have one. If you don't believe me, sit them down in front of the nearest white person and let that white person say, you're not racist, are you? And watch them start explaining. Watch them start explaining. Watch them start explaining. So we are doing this to get everybody on code. That all this butt dancing and ass kissing and boot licking, it's over. For a time, we accepted that because we were giving you time to grow out of that mess. But we now see you didn't had enough time. You had enough time. Now we're just bringing the hammer down. You have had enough time to get it together. You demonstrated that you have no intention of changing, that you think this is going to be the new way of things. No. Everybody from here on in on code. Everybody. No exceptions. No exceptions to the rule. None. I didn't mean to take calls tonight, but I might as well take a couple of them. Caller from 469, you're on live with Black Channel.
It's John from Dallas.
John from Dallas, what's on your mind, brother?
Alright, so a few things. For one, thank you for that marvelous broadcast breaking down that report. And, I noticed that as well, that when they're going through that, it was just riddled with all that benign neglect language, which is probably why Sandy is backtracking. That's probably why Antonio Moore is also trying to explain his way out of it. And it's like in the words of Dr. Neely Fuller, you need to stand by your word. Another point which you're talking about was the different communities being on code. I'll tell you, I've encountered people from well over 80 different countries. And 80 is a conservative estimate. I don't have time to actually sit down and count them. But I'll tell you, the two countries I've had the worst experience with are nationals from Australia and nationals from Somalia. Now, Australia is pretty obvious. Their racism is like 1960s level. But the Somalians, and this was back in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I used to work those jobs at the airport, my brother, who you also know. And them Somali women gave us so much trouble. And the thing is, now they would give us trouble, they would give the Mexican ladies trouble. Now the white Cubans, they licked this high like it was syrup. Anybody who was white, they treated them like royalty. And you know what? When I ran into a Somali man, nicest guy you ever met. When I asked him about this, I was like, dude, what's up with your woman? Why is he acting like that? That dude went off ballistic. He was like, why are they coming over here messing with us? So with such I don't think he wasn't even completely aware as to how off-coding some of the women were up here. So you got some of these people who are so far off-coded, even other people from their countries are like, man, what's wrong with them people? Send them back. So if you're ever wondering why Trump is popular with some of their black constituents, that should give you a little bit of a reason, but I digress. And also another thing, and last but not least, one problem that we have as far as supporting our politicians is, this is a bad habit all around we have, is we outsource our survivability to other groups. And it's like, why on earth do we keep surviving, or we keep outsourcing our survivability thinking that other groups are going to do our bidding. We're thinking other groups are going to vote for our interests, other groups are going to fund our interests, other groups are going to enact on our behalf. Other groups want to fight on our behalf. And we haven't learned time and time again that just doesn't work. You didn't get changes in World War II until Nat Turner said, yo, forget all this praying. I'm going to follow God's visions and pick up a gun. You didn't get change until, the martyrs of the Civil Rights Movement say, hey, forget all this, being nice and stuff. We're going to walk. And yeah, they used different tactics. Martin Luther King, sure, he was more of the non-violent peaceful person, but Martin Luther King stood right behind the more violent elements who were, actually setting fires and throwing stones. He refused to condemn them. He was found cold when it came to them. And yeah, him and Malcolm X, I love things. They got cold before Malcolm died.
You gotta understand, brother, we've got these overseer classes. And one of the things that we as black people have not thought about, all you see is Somali emblems. That's all you see. But what we don't think about is, what were they doing before they got here? We don't think to ourselves, we think they're strangers who are allowed here. And that's the problem I have. We don't give any thought to, by the way, what qualified them to get here? Do you think that these people were approved because they had been vetted before they got here? They were bootlicking before they got here. Let me tell you, the fact that Tariq Nasheed can't get into Britain, that lets you know that these countries only let in the people they want to let in. Let me say that one more time. The fact that people like Tariq Nasheed cannot get into Britain, and Britain has the same immigration powers and policies and computer systems and background check systems that America does, the fact they don't have that, the fact that he can't get in there, that tells you these nations let in the people they want to. You can't legally get into these nations. If somebody got to America legally, they were vetted before they got here. The local co-opted governments in Africa let the U.S. Immigration Service know, oh, don't worry, this person is safe. He doesn't have any anti-white supremacist views. He dates a lot of white women. He just wants to be a good, productive citizen. He wants to be a good American. That's what the local governments will tell them. Well, the United States government, they put the good word in for Tariq too. And we saw what happened to him. When it was time to go to Britain, they put the good word in to Britain. Because Britain doesn't know a damn thing about Tariq. United States State Department, let me pull your coat. We heard he wanted to come see you. Let me pull your coat. Yeah, you gotta watch out for this one. Oh, for real? Oh, okay. Yeah, he ain't coming. So if they showed up in America, 9 times out of 10, they were vetted and allowed in because they were already confirmed to their ass-kissing credentials were already confirmed before they ever got here. We don't realize how deep this game really goes. We don't think about it because to us, they're just here in America. We're not thinking about the fact that, hey, maybe they were kissing white folks' asses back in Somalia. Maybe they were kissing ass back in Sudan. And we don't see the connection between doing that and being allowed to come over here. You can't legally leave Sudan if the government doesn't let you. You can't legally leave Sudan if the government don't let you. Why do you think you have Sudanese refugees? Hell, you can't really leave Somalia unless the government lets you. Not legally. So if they immigrated in from Somalia legally, then that tells you that the Somalian government signed off and said this person is no type of threat, they're no type of danger, they're not going to be speaking against the government when they get there. This guy is safe. And Muhammad Nawwwww was a safe Negro who is now going to be doing 12 years behind bars, and unlike Amber Geiger, there ain't going to be no good time for him. He's going to walk it down. He's going to do every day of those 12 years. Nobody's going to give him half hour time served. Nothing. He's going to do every day. Squeaky clean. But he's going to do every day of it. We don't think about it. We just see them kissing ass over here, and we don't make the connection. And by the way, they were kissing ass everywhere. Way before they got here. It was kissing ass that got them here. So when they get here, oh, they're going to be extra on everything. They're going to be extra on everything when they get here. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, John. We'll give you a call again. We get a caller from the 917. You're on live with Blackjack. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay. Your volume's real low, brother. Can you get closer to your phone? If you're on speaker or something, take it off because your volume's real low.
My apologies. Can you hear me better now?
That's a lot better. You said you're calling from Brooklyn?
Brooklyn, New York.
Okay, what's your name?
For one, it's an honor to my name is Sage from Brooklyn, New York.
Sage from Brooklyn, what's on your mind, brother?
For one, it's an honor to speak to you. I want to thank you to read Brother Black for everything you guys do. One, thank you for opening our eyes for those other Black over there. I want to let you know I'm a descendant of slaves. And first of all, the way you broke down earlier about the brother from Haiti, from New York, absolutely true. These people look at themselves as Haitian first. They do not identify as Black. We over here identify as Black. The Latinos, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans that live in New York, they all are against us at some point. They're not on code with us. I want to say, I couldn't say it any better than you did when you broke it down where when we're on code with something and we're trying to move as one block, these people are the people that's like causing distraction when we're trying to get something across. So I want to thank you for that. And that's basically all I want to say to you today, honestly. But you're absolutely right about what you were saying about New York. It's hard getting cold out here. We just had that storm to fall, and everyone is there with their Irish flag. But I don't see anyone there that's a descendant of slave. So it's really hard to pick out who's who up in New York, and there's just so much immigration going on within my city. But like I say, Brooklyn, we love you out here.
They have that parade up there in New York. You all know what I'm talking about, where the women are out there dancing naked and stuff. That's their code of conduct. That's what they in the middle of a white supremacist uprising. That's the code. So, like I say, it's real hard, especially for those of you who are younger. It's hard to stay on code when that's what you are surrounded by. That's what you're surrounded by. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Now, those of you who give us a call again. We get a caller from 214. You're on live.
Good evening, Jason.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I grew up in Dallas. Go Lightly. I'm now working in Atlanta from Dallas.
Hello, Go Lightly. Again.
Yes. Again, correct.
You're not going to have an emotional outburst, are you?
No need for that.
Okay.
The call, this broadcast today has been quite clear. I've stated before, I know for my own self, there's nowhere else to go. There is nowhere else to be. Not Black America. And I mentioned this on the last call. The same Black Americans that built this country. There's blood, sweat, tears, and breast milk. There is, it is not ordinary, and it cannot be here. The life that I have, the money, I make a very, very, very good living. It all came from one Black American woman. I was raised in Dallas. She literally just referred me. She taught me the work and languages. I was able to pay a very expensive private school in Dallas in cash through working from a position that I was referred to by this woman. I give my entire career began with this woman. And I really have tried as much as I can to ensure that there is the appropriate support for Black students in Dallas.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. However, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. However, ever that you are not representative of immigrants or the children of immigrants in the first or second generations. By the time we get third or fourth, I don't know. They're either fully assimilated into white society or black society. I don't know. But you are not indicative of your peers of immigrants and children of immigrants as a group. As a group. You are one individual. And we can point to some other individuals. But as a group, if you were indicative of how they treat us and behave as a group, we wouldn't be having this discussion. It wouldn't be happening. There'd be no need for it because we'd already be kicking the ass all over the place. So while I understand what you're saying, I'm just saying that unfortunately you are not indicative of immigrant peers as a group.
Okay, well, if I may touch on that, growing up throughout Dallas, when I've spoken to people who do not even carry their name, that's what was very interesting with Obama, the fact that he does carry his father's name.
Not really.
Actually, as Joe Brown, as Joe Brown has reminded us, actually Barry didn't carry that name the whole time. He only carried it when it was Barry Soweto. He only carried it when it was convenient. So before you go any further, by the way, no, actually he didn't.
90 seconds. Okay,
he didn't actually do that.
What I was trying to, that's my point. I've met many other black children or, black adults who, like Obama originally did, they are not, he was Barry Soweto. I don't know why, he changed his father's name. But it's actually more common like that, Jason, where you will have an African immigrant, he's with a black American woman, the relationship does not work out. The child will carry their black American name. They do not identify with Africa. That's what I experienced throughout my childhood. Where I said, oh no, I'm not from Morocco. I'm not from Zimbabwe. My dad is, but I'm from Louisiana. I'm from Dallas. They don't identify with Africa. And this is way more than you may realize. That most of these African immigrant children, especially if their parents are not together, they do not identify with the continent at all. They identify as being Black American. And that really is the case for many, many, African immigrants and also for the Islanders. You can't identify as Black American. You want the name that is Black American. You want your accent.
No, you're misunderstanding that. You're misunderstanding that. Yeah. You keep saying that they want the name that is Black American. You keep injecting the word black. No, they just want an Americanized name. Because it's not like these people come over here and become pro-black. That's not the situation. If it were, I wouldn't be here talking. We would be chopping it up and making things happen. So you keep interjecting, well, they want a Black American name. They're trying to be Black Americans. No, they just try to be American. Because there is no Black American name. Slow down. First things first. There is no Black American name. There is none. There's no such thing as a Black American name. Okay, lightly. Go lightly. Slow down.
Yeah.
Go lightly. Pump your brakes or I'll pump them for you. Thank you. You keep interjecting that. First of all, there is no such creature as a Black American name. We all have American names or African names, but you don't have a Black American name. So to say, well, they don't identify with the continent, they want a Black American name. No, they never identify with the continent over there because Black Africans don't identify with the continent. They identify with their country of origin in Africa. And that's been the problem. We've been trying to get them to identify with the continent. Oh, they'll be very quick to tell you that they are Somali, Ethiopian, South African, Nigeria. Oh, they'll be quick to tell you that. But you are correct. No, they don't identify with the continent because they're so damn tribal that they don't even identify as our country most of the time. I'm Yoruba, I'm Igbo, I'm Husqvarna, I'm Delta, I'm Tutu, I'm Hutsi, I'm Zulu. They'll be quick to identify as a tribe. So what you're saying is only true on the surface. But in practice, no, they don't identify by continent because they don't see the continent of Africa is not a nation. The continent of Africa has dozens of nations within it. The continent of Africa is not a nation. So there's the problem. No, they're never going to identify with Africa, ever. So they didn't give up nothing. What you're talking, the way you're describing it, sounds like they sacrificed something. They didn't give up anything. They never claimed the whole continent. When they were over there, they didn't claim the continent. They didn't even claim their nation. They only claimed their tribe. They have come to America, and it's very easy to take off that Africa coat. They were never wearing it. So now they picked up, they long to be American. When white folk go to Africa, they're all over there dancing a jig and putting pictures of themselves up on Instagram. Remember Botham Jean, before they ever get here, they make it plain and clear to white folk. Man, y'all give me a shot to getting over there, I'm on board. Just give me tell me what I gotta do, tell me what I gotta say, tell me how hard I gotta dance. I'm on it. I'm on it. And that's what they do over there. So when they show up over here, this idea that somehow they've adopted Western culture, they adopted it over there. Do you all realize how many hoes and sluts you got in Africa today with bastard babies by Asians? Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to remind nobody of that. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to remind anybody of that.
What about those, like the Haitian callers you had? I've been here since I was an infant.
But you're in Dallas. But you're in Dallas. But you're in Dallas.
What about those?
You're in Dallas.
Here?
You're in Dallas. You are not in a major epicenter of A, black people, much less B, black immigrants. You have a small enclave down there, but you're in Dallas.
I work in Atlanta.
Okay. Atlanta, same thing.
What about those who are raised here, like the initial Haitian caller? When, yes, you are, like, those were my first.
Atlanta is no different.
So how do you address?
Atlanta's no different. I'm addressing it. Atlanta's no different. I'm addressing it. Atlanta is no different. I just addressed it. Atlanta's no different. I just addressed it. Atlanta is no different.
Okay, so a first generation black immigrant who was raised here, they don't identify with any of the multiple tribes in the continent. How are they supposed to handle it? How are they supposed to talk to the other?
You're missing the point. Okay, I'll be glad to answer the question. Okay, I'll be glad to answer the question. You can stop talking. If you want me to answer the question, stop talking. It's step number one, stop talking. Some folks just want to hear themselves think. That's gotta be a different thing. In any case, first and foremost, it doesn't impress me to hear somebody talk about, well, they don't carry any of their mores or principles or practices from their homeland with them. No, they came over here because African people are the only people who want to get rid of their native culture and want to assimilate. These other groups of people retain their languages, they retain their names, they try to hold that intact. So when you get into black cities in America, first thing that goes out the door is your black identity, much less African. That's the first thing that goes out the door. If you have children, you will be lucky if you have certain children who assimilate, but they're going to assimilate one of two ways. They are going to either assimilate to become black people, black Americans, or they're going to assimilate to become Americans. And too often that's a very fine line. Because it's not about are you white, it's about are you black. Are they standing up for black people? You can't show me any immigrants nor children thereof who are sporting their black identity. Right. You can't show it to them. You can talk about yourself.
No, you got a lot of stories you can
but you can't show that to them. Well, how do we get them on code? What I'm doing right now. What we are doing here right now. Because I reach hundreds of thousands, possibly even millions of young black people. I'm talking about in their 20s younger. And these young black adults, they want to know, how do I deal with these hostile situations? And we have to tell them it's gone beyond just black and white. They brought over a group of immigrants to be their hand-picked overseers over you, to look like you, but think like them. And I want you to understand the environment that you're in so that you put your foot down the right way. So that you understand you're not being anti-black. By stopping these overseers, that's the most black thing you can do. Because before the last few years, it wasn't explained like that. Remember, this microphone told you all years ago when I first started, I was telling you about the black immigrants when I started. The tongue-tieds and the swirler Carnels got the damn nerve to pretend you're going to talk about descendants of slaves. You better ask your girlfriend about your pro-black credentials. I got to ask that white girlfriend about your pro-black credentials. Couldn't even find a black woman to lay up with, by the way. But I digress. I'm going to go massive territory. In any case, what we do here, because we are defining what the code is. Before now, there was none. Now, we're defining it so that everybody down the line knows what it is. Presidential candidates are responding. Major television networks are responding. Talk show hosts are responding. It's gone around the world. It is the topic of discussion. But let us not be deceived about where we are in this process. This isn't the beginning of the end. This is just the end of the beginning. But it doesn't start until we are making sure that everybody thinks like we do. At least that's our goal, is to get everybody to get on code and think like us, so that when you do encounter these immigrants, no matter what their parents may have told them, they are walking into an environment that is on code. So that even if their parents deceive them, they get on code when they get in the environment. But you only do that with an environment that favors you. You can't do that in an environment that favors your oppressors. And while you can't convert whole cities as it were, this is why we told a lot of places like Atlanta so hard. You got a bunch of black folk. This is time for us to crack the whip and say, hey, this is the code. This is the code. When you go to, I said this the other day, when you go to East LA, when you go to Houston, San Antonio, El Paso, the Latinos are on code. I mean, they will get you up out the paint quick if you are obviously Latin and don't speak the language. They make sure to shame you. You don't speak your people's language? I can't tell you how many times I heard that out west.
Immigrants don't speak the tribal language.
Okay, but it's not about that. There are no, will you, okay, Golightly, you're filibustering. You're filibustering with silliness. Stop it. That's the last time I'm going to tell you to quit. Stop. Just stop. You're a person who digs a hole and keeps digging.
I'm not digging a hole or digging.
There's nobody to hold them on code. There is nobody to do that. Golightly, you're talking silliness. You're doing it again. Golightly, you're doing it again. You're doing it again. Take your meds. You haven't made a point. This is silliness. This is silliness. There's nobody here to hold them on code. There's no group of people here to tell them speak your own language. There's nobody in any positions of power to tell them you don't speak your people's language. They came to America to get away from their home language. I already explained that to you. I just explained it to you a few minutes ago, and it made no impression.
That country, all they know is here.
Yes,
they don't
that's
know
the problem.
Africa. African immigrant child is here. So they're here with Black Americans.
Golightly.
They're trying to assimilate, especially towards Black Americans.
Golightly.
It's pushed away.
Hang up.
My only question is, what do you want to be done?
Okay, I told you what needs to be done. Is that good enough?
You said to listen to you, which I do. I listen to you, Professor Black Truth.
Yeah, I did not say
listen to me. I said stop talking.
Thank you very much for not listening.
Okay, so
I'm saying, Golightly, I want you to hang up the phone.
Cause you just
Okay,
fucking
you can
up.
hang up the phone on me. Bye.
Please,
Go ahead.
hang up the phone.
What you do?
No, like, just.
No, you can go ahead.
I'm tapping out.
I made myself very clear that I am 100% for Black America. There's nothing else I can do, nor do I want to.
And I told you what needs
That's
to
all
be
I
done.
want to do.
And she's literally not listening to a word I say.
Man.
And that's why you're saying that I said for us to listen to me.
I was serial.
You're listening so closely that you said that what I said was listen to me.
I identify with those who are not appropriate towards Black and explain myself.
If you untie me now, I
That
won't come back to kill
first
you.
sharing the burden of slavery
Man,
is unlike
hang
anything
the
any
phone
Black
up.
immigrant can understand in this country.
Good
There's
Lord.
nothing else.
Hang up the phone. Hang up the phone. Hang up the phone.
No, you can hit the phone. Hit the phone.
I am tapping the hell out.
Are you done? I don't know what more. It's like you just want to just argue back and forth.
I'm not arguing with you.
I have to fight against the being over
That's what this house is.
Black
Where?
Americans to be over here.
Who lives in Canada?
The lightning deep sleep.
Hell no. Hell the fuck no. Fuck no.
You don't live in Canada?
Yeah, hell no.
I'm not. But there is
Fuck no.
Galilei, have
Fuck
you?
no. Because I have to hurt somebody in Canada. Them motherfuckers like okay with how they killed Native Americans. No, hell no. And then they still fucking hockey from niggas.
Have you like hit a man?
Don't say you live in Canada.
Have you ever punched a man?
Cindy?
Yes.
That's okay, I ain't doing it.
That's why I was like, yeah, I'm good.
Nope. I'll find something else.
Please.
You strike me.
That was a no.
You strike me as the kind of chick who would punch a nigga dead in the eye, like in bed. You know, you think y'all gonna go to bed and then she just turns over. Wow. Oh hell. Messed up the game. Wow.
Hang on, motherfucker.
Thank you very much for calling the lightning.
No.
Please call.
No, please.
I'm sure.
No, hang on.
Very much.
Lord.
What? I didn't give her enough time to speak. I didn't give her enough. All right. Caller from 203. You're on live with Black.
Hello, thank you, Jason, for taking the call. This is Monty from Connecticut.
Monty from Connecticut.
Thank you for all of it. Yes. There's a feedback, so it might be some feedback. First thing I gotta say is that these immigrants are over in Connecticut, and we're being disenfranchised by people who don't want to speak their language. And it's disheartening to try to get people on code, but they with the goofiness, you know what I mean? And in Connecticut, you know, we're so off code that when I do speak about it, it's
They look at you crazy.
enough that the conversation is diverted to. So, I just want to say that us as a people to go forward, to get on code, stay on code, and identify the nonsense like never full of each other.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Please give us a call again. We get caller from 903. You're on live with Black.
The hell?
Just hang up on yourself?
I was gonna say the same thing. Huh?
Caller from 903 just hung up on themselves. They heard the dial tone and then they said hello. He for himself. Caller from 646. You're on live with Black.
Take off.
Caller from 850. People, wake up. We did pretty good for a little while now.
I mean, yeah, starting to slow down.
Silly caller. 850 on live.
What's going on, Jake? How you doing, bro?
What's
Your name? Where you calling from?
Florida.
Florida. What's your
Florida.
name?
What's your name?
Jay.
Jay from Florida. What's on your mind?
What's going on, man? I'm here in Jacksonville. I heard your message last time when you were talking about people in South Florida people in Jacksonville need to go to South Florida and actually look at how South Florida has changed with the Haitians, the Dominicans. Black people do not have a voice. Like, I agree with you what you said about California, Washington, New York, and New Jersey. I was in New York last week. I didn't want to go outside anymore. All you saw was immigrant this, immigrant that, and immigrants have done nothing for this country but care for this country. And one more thing I would like to talk to you about, how is it possible for black people to put together petitions to remove businesses out of the community that do not?
No, can't do that.
Notice I said no before you even said it. As soon as you said it's impossible to put together a petition. No. Petitions do nothing. Petitions are the resort of the intellectually lazy and the economically bankrupt. When white folk want to do something to us, they don't make petitions. Okay, you got a lot of noise behind you, letting you go. When white folk want to do something to us, they don't get no petitions. When white folk wanted to get the turkey leg hut out of Houston, did they pass a petition? No, they got an attorney. Because the zoning laws weren't in their favor, they got an attorney and said, we're going to get rid of you. We're going to sue you out. Since the government laws don't allow us, we'll go to another government organization. Since the city council won't let us get you out, we'll go to another government organization, the courts. We'll go there. But they don't pass around no petitions. Did the white folks put together a petition for Black Wall Street? Did the white folks put together a petition to remove any black politician that they sent to prison? They don't get together a petition. When they do things to us, you just get a letter in the mail telling you they moving on you. Yep. But they don't get together petitions. They don't take a vote. They don't hold a quorum. They don't do any of that. We as black people are looking for the tools of the power. You don't need a petition. The only piece of paperwork you need is from your banker. Get your money together and then get together with other black folk who are on the same page, and then it doesn't matter what other people do. But petitions, somebody tell me the last petition to remove owners. Tell me the last petition that did it. Tell me the last petition that actually did something. Let me know. No. When you do, make a Facebook post about it. Call us from 703. Turn off your speakers. Everybody on hold, turn off your speakers. What is your name? Where you calling from?
Hello. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, what is your name? Where are you calling from? Saints alive.
My name is Polk, and I'm calling from Washington, D.C. Metro.
Folks from D.C., what's on your mind?
What's on my mind is that I'm the CEO and founder of TASDEN, the Transatlantic Slave Descendant Network. And I'm the individual that told and Yvette actually copied ADOS from and renamed it, or copied TASDEN and then renamed it ADOS. Now, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but my number one problem with Tone copying TASDEN and rehashing the ADOS is the poison that we're doing now that's going on in the community. Now, when I started TASDEN back in 2015, when I was doing the research analysis, the SWOT analysis of TASDEN, I actually looked at starting the African American enslaved descendant network. Now, I didn't do that because in the SWOT analysis, I seen there were over 3 million immigrants between 1965 and 1980 from the West Indies, trying to, who had assimilated into our society.
Dr. Claude Anderson found all, he documented all that decades ago.
Okay, so trying to unwind that, trying to pull them out of the fabric of our community would be as destructive as we're seeing right now, poison that we're seeing right now. What we need to do is we need to get the slave descendants from the Caribbean and these other regions in our community, and we need to get them on board the ones who are with us, and then have them.
And this is how we're doing it.
Yeah.
And this is how we're doing it. And this is how we're doing it. Understand something.
That's not what's going on right now.
Okay, brother. Okay, brother. Stop. We're doing that now. Doesn't matter if you don't agree. It doesn't matter if you can't see it. The fact that I've never heard of you before tonight, and I got it up, as opposed to working and languishing in obscurity. I can show you how to get your weight up. Because I can show you presidential candidates, billionaires, specifically responding to me specifically. So let me hit you the game on how to get your weight up. First thing, we don't need to do a damn thing for or with the so-called immigrants. We need to understand that there is only one language that they will understand in mass, as a group. Don't have time to go person to person and convert people. Don't have time to get massage hands and whatnot. Power does not respect weakness. Power only respects power. We're going to get all these other people on code by exercising power. And the first power that we are going to exercise is by letting them know who we are. Because you see, they bow and they scrape at the altar of white supremacy, because white supremacy lets you know who the hell they are. They let you know who's in charge. They let you know who's not going to be, let's make a deal. It's going to be, here's the deal. And now we, the descendants of slaves in America, we're going to get everybody on code by first and foremost letting them know the bull job is over, playing us for being weak and taking advantage of us because we've been soft. That day is over. Doesn't require proselytizing, doesn't require door-to-door, doesn't require any of that. Messy incidents there have been in history. Power is a messy business, by definition. You can't win a football game, it's going to be messy. You can't win a boxing match, it's going to be messy. Power is going to be messy because the weak or the people who have less power are always going to try to get in your way. That's just a fact of life. If you don't want to see the sausage being made, stop asking for hot dogs. If you want to see things be very, very clean, the cleanest place in the world is a jail cell. Very clean. You want power? Get ready to deal with some messes. In white society, they have had 3,000 years of straight messes. We can name every revolution in history. French, British, American Civil War, Reconstruction. It's gonna be a messy business. So this idea that us taking out the trash, that's something wrong? No, this is called nation building. Nation building is messy. Nation building roots out traitors. Nation building has to do the messy work of getting your hands in the dirt and getting your hands, sometimes you got to get in the filth to go and find that vermin that keeps sneaking out of the filth and trying to make its way into your house. You might find a tongue-tied piece of filth, a tongue-tied vermin, or its hook-jawed roach of a buddy crawling on his back. No, this is nation building, and it's a messy affair. And if a person doesn't have the stomach to build a nation, he will never have one. We want to sit up here and complain about white supremacy in America. It was a messy business. It was messy in Jamestown. It was messy enslaving black folk. It was messy running off the Native Americans on the East Coast and taking what they got. And then when your own white people came from England and said, okay, you got to bend the knee, it was messy to have an American Revolution. It was messy. And then they won. And then the Spanish-American War, and so on and so forth. The Indian Wars. Oh, it was messy. Getting to the top was messy. Staying on top has been just as messy. It's gonna be messy. So that doesn't sway me to hear somebody say it's a mess. It's already been a mess. It didn't become one. It didn't just become one last week or last month. It's been a mess. It's been a wholly screwed up mess. We are finally cleaning up the mess. is what we're doing. But this idea, like it wasn't messy for the last 200 years and it just became messy last month, I'm wondering where these people immigrated in from who are talking about this. It's a mess now. It's been messy. We're cleaning up the house now. And guess what? There will be other messes in the future. And we will be there to take care of those also. This is not, you're not going to clean up the house and it stays clean. You got to clean up the house and then make sure it stays clean. That's the reality. We here now. I mean, you can't see me right now. I'm pointing at my eyes and now I'm pointing at yours, even though I can't see them. But we here?
Right.
Okay.
Well, I disagree with you in regards to the tactics. I think these people are part of our community. They've been part of our community since the 70s, since the 20s. We've had Caribbean immigrants who are part of our community.
That's the whole thing.
We need to coalesce the Caribbeans in our community who are on board with us, and then have them clean up the mess in their community.
Okay, how do you propose we do that? We're short on time, and I don't want to cut you off. We're short on time, and I don't want to cut you off. How do you, if you don't like the way I'm saying to do it, how do you propose we get these disparate groups who see themselves as not black and are helping the white power structure because they see themselves as something other than black? If you don't like my method, how do you propose to, quote, get them on board?
I have Caribbeans, I have Jamaicans, Bayesians, Haitians.
Okay, we got that. Time is short. Tell me what you want to do.
I'm telling you now, who understand that there are people in their community who undermine the African American community, who are willing to protect their people. We use the Haitians, we use the Caribbean, we use the West Indians who have assimilated, who understand that there's nonsense going on.
That's what I'm doing now.
We use them.
That's what I'm doing now.
People in their community.
That's what I'm doing now. But that's what I'm doing now. So, and we're talking the same thing. That's what we're already doing.
Like the Haitian brother you have in New York, but that was on the phone. He's on board.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guards in New York.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Haitians in Miami. There's West Indians all over America who agree with us. Because the thing is, this poison.
Well, we're already there. I mean,
we're Caribbean to African Americans. If you go to Africa, you see Nigerians sabotaging South Africans, or South Africans sabotaging Nigerians in South Africa.
Okay, we're on the same page. Okay, we're on the same page about that. We're on the same page about that. We're on the same page about that. So,
this is a Caribbean. This is a black. So we're the facto leaders. The African American community, we're the facto leaders of black people.
I agree. Well, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get another caller on here while we're at it, but we're basically on the same page about that. Caller from 516, you're live to the Black Show.
Yes, good evening, Jason. My name is Mark. I'm from Long Island.
Mark from Long Island, what's on your mind?
Yeah, but I think it's a very interesting discussion. Basically, I'm going to tell you why. Because I am the child of a Caribbean mother, and my father's family hails from North Carolina. So I think a lot of times we as black people, we got to clean ourselves. We know on both sides we got to do some severe house cleaning. And that house cleaning has to come with just the basic truth, like how you put it out there. We got to get people on code, because a lot of times black people don't see equity in being black. So they want to be every other thing under the damn rainbow except being black. It comes down to a point now where we got to say, yo, if you're not going to go black first, I don't give a damn where you from, you got to go somewhere else. You got to go somewhere else. I think what the caller before was trying to say about the message was that it didn't come with the message that you got to be on code. It kind of came out like, you ain't here, you ain't this, so we hate you. But what you're saying is something that nobody should have a problem with. You're just telling them, listen, you got to get your ass on code. Because imagine if, for instance, if politicians are coming and when they go to other communities, they're going for the Hispanic vote, they're going for this vote. And if they come for the black vote, and we got all the black people on code, we shouldn't have no damn problem.
Well, you're correct.
We got to be honest with ourselves.
You're correct, but here's the problem, and you already know this. The problem is you have a bunch of sleeper agents. You have a bunch of folk who, when they get in front of black people, they talk one way. But then when they get at home or they get in front of non-black people, they talk a different way. So what we're saying is that we're bringing this more out into the open. The previous caller and all that behind closed door stuff, forget all that. We're bringing this out into the open that this is going to be a major national conversation so that people don't have the luxury or the option of trying this double agent mess where they say one thing in front of us. They talk in black, but they live in Byron Allen. I mean, live in white. They talk in black. They talk in black, but they live in Yvette Carnell. I mean, live in white. Is what I'm telling you. So that's what we're up. The reason why we're turning the volume up on this is because all of this soft shoeing and soft handing and we're gonna just keep this on the low. No, forget that. Everybody, we going door to door. I need to see your black papers. We going door to door. I got to check your paperwork. Like the penitentiary. Paperwork check. Paperwork check. We're here to check your paperwork. This is why when things like Cynthia Erivo, her paperwork came back bad. If society is a prison, and Neely Fuller said that we are in a white supremacist prison, and that when you get put in the penitentiary.
All right. Let's see what's up next. All right,
How are you?
let's get the equipment.
Okay then. We're gonna need supplies and equipment so we can set up the still and get started with production. We could buy all of this, of course, but why would we do that when we can just borrow it permanently from some of the other moonshiners around here and kill two birds with one stone?
Hey, that works.
So these folks at Maggie's backpack. That's good.
I got you covered, Maggie.
That's just greater confinement. Well, if this is a prison, those of us about black empowerment, we the shot callers on the yard, and we telling everybody, paperwork check. We got to see if you got bad paperwork. Do you have bad charges? Do you have charges for doing stuff that we got to deal with you here on the inside about? Paperwork check. But that's the way it's going to have to be across the board now. In black society, we got to check your paperwork. Kamala Harris, paperwork check. Paperwork check. She found herself not ready. We went back and checked her paperwork. She tried to go out on the yard and with bad paperwork, and it ended badly for her. She got shanked because it ended badly. Your paperwork was no good. Your paperwork was dirty. You were dirty on the yard. Roland Martin, paperwork check. Paperwork check, nigga. His paperwork came back bad. He had to get shanked. Paperwork came back bad. Folk don't like it when I talk like this, but this is what it's going to be. I'm so glad that I don't have to depend on the internet for money. So I can tell the truth. Paperwork check. So, brother, across the board, understand something. This is not a breakdown. This is a build-up. This is a build-up. And what we're doing is getting everybody on board. I am no respecter of persons, and I'm not going to discriminate based on where you come from. But we are saying that we are defining ourselves as descendants of slaves so that everyone who identifies with us. Now, I'm about to introduce you all to a revolutionary concept tonight. I might separate this out into its own piece. Everyone listening, I'm about to introduce you to a revolutionary concept. You've heard it stated by us here before. Do you have to be white to be a white supremacist?
Hey, jackass, you need to leave.
Everybody listening here, you see my documentary Race War, you can listen to the Black Channel. First question, do you have to be white to be a white supremacist?
Absolutely not, brother. You know they got plenty of black ones out there.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you're identifying people by their principles and their practices, correct?
That is just absolutely correct.
All right, now,
What it is,
wait, no, I'm running this. Next question. I'm not asking you yourself first, I'm asking everybody. Next question. Do you have to be a black person who is a descendant of American slaves in order to identify with the descendants of American slaves? to identify with the will and the way and the ideology and the lineage and the legacy? Do you have, if you're a black person, do you have to be a descendant of American slaves in order to identify with the descendants of American slaves?
No.
I am showing you where I have a unified world ideology.
You shouldn't have, because it's a black person or anything else, brother.
There are some folks, I think they misunderstood the question. I think they misunderstood the question. Either that or I think there may be a long delay or whatever. I think they're responding to the previous question. I'm getting a bunch of yeses and a bunch of no's. In any case, if we are going to say that you don't have to be white in order to identify as a white supremacist or to identify with white supremacist ideology, you don't have to be white to support and identify with white supremacist ideology. To which I would say to the black people of around the world, the melanated peoples of the world, when you want to know where we're coming from or where you link up with us at, where the point of commonality and connection is, with us identifying and putting more of an emphasis on being descendants of American slaves, you don't have to be a descendant of American slaves to be with the Descendants of American Slaves program. And if you are with the program, it's going to be, yes, I'm going to bring it back to prison. It's going to be just like prison. You allied with us. If it jumps off, if another ethnicity jumps on you, we ride. We ride because you're on the team. But you first got to get your paperwork straight before you get that alignment. See, the problem is we've been letting people in with no qualifiers. They haven't had to put any skin in the game. They haven't had to identify. They haven't had to declare their allegiance. I would suggest to you all night, you don't have to be a descendant of American slaves to identify with the descendants of American slaves. Just like you don't have to be white to be a white supremacist. But if you want us to jump when these other groups jump on you, you got to be on the team. You gotta be allied. You have to be allied before you get there. And the problem is we've been letting people in the front door simply because of skin tone and just assuming that white supremacy's oppression and brutalization bothers them as much as it does us. And what we're finding out is a lot of these people, it don't bother them. White supremacy's brutality against them in Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Nigeria, it don't bother them. It's not bothering them like that. It's not bothering them. So we need to make sure that we understand that, hey, this is where we're coming from. That doesn't mean, but we need to make sure that as black folk, we got to set the ground rules first. America is a white supremacist society. You are going to adhere to the law even if you don't like it. You got to toe the line. And as descendants of American slaves, we are defining slavery. We are defining blackness from the position of opposing white supremacy. That's why the descendants of slaves is so important, because slaves are in direct opposition to white supremacy. Now, if you agree with that and you are down with the program, you can ride with us just fine. You're going to ride with us just fine. But if your paperwork is dirty, Cynthia Erivo, Stacey Dash, Sheriff David Clark, Roland Martin, Jason Whitlock, Stephen A. Smith, Barack Obama, if your paperwork comes back dirty, if your paperwork comes back bad,
you're getting shanked.
Then we riding on you. And the very first time you can get got, you're getting got. But those are the rules. So understand something, people. articulated for you a unified ideology. It is consistent with white supremacy. Okay? I mean, unless you're a person who believes that you have to be white in order to be a white supremacist, then I guess it's consistent. But that would be inconsistent. If you believe you don't have to be white to be a white supremacist, but you must be a descendant of American slaves in order to identify with the descendant of American slaves agenda, you're inconsistent. That's a contradiction. So understand, I don't ask where people come from. I'm not asking where you're from, I'm asking where you at. I don't require you to be a descendant of American slaves, but I do require you to back the agenda. And in return, when these people put the boots to you, and when these people go in on you, we gon' ride. We gon' ride. Like we rode for women, like we rode for Botham Jean. I don't talk this, brother. How long you been listening to me? Over a couple of years, I hope.
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you who don't remember, I rode for Botham Jean. Yeah. I'm talking about me personally, Jason Black. Remember, I was the guy who bought all those billboards and out the bad news. Nobody ever thought they'd see that in their lifetimes. I paid for that out of my own pocket. No crowdfundings, no raising money. You all go check. I didn't have a crowdfunding. That was out of my own pocket. That was hella expensive. But to have a young black man gunned down in his living room eating ice cream with a woman talking about, oh, I thought that was my apartment. I did that. I will show you the engine room.
Thank you for your intervention the other day. I was running into a rather unpleasant experience.
Okay.
So here we are. Nice. Private. For obvious reasons, huh? There she is. Our still a beauty, huh? Since I've been told that you are new in the business, I was thinking you might need some friendly mentorship. Illicit distillation is a very unique pursuit. What is most important are the ingredients for flash. The more successful the business is, the better the price we can negotiate for those ingredients. Just as we will, the more unsuccessful our competitors are. But that side of things is more the area of expertise of Madame Fike. Anyway, some of our buyers are very exacting when it comes to tastes and flavors. So we will need to adjust our recipes to the demand over time. Attention, stronger alcohol sells for more, as you can imagine. But it also takes longer to produce. So that is something else we will need to balance. Huh? Well, that's enough now. Let's get to work. I have a feeling you are going to learn fast.
Oh. All right.
Did that. And what I'm saying is, even though he wasn't descendant of American slaves, we ride. Now that, once the family got off code, and I was like, okay, put the spurs back up, we rolling back now. Once the family got off code. But I'm showing you, I don't just put lip service behind this, brother. I lived this. I lived this. The fact he was not a descendant of American slaves did not stop me from riding for him at the time. And I have no regrets about doing so. I'm very glad that what I did was instrumental in setting the precedent that if a cop murders a black person in Dallas, you'll go to prison. What we did started the pressure. It got major media attention, got attention all over Dallas. Radio people were talking about it. We set the tone, and we set the field discussion. We framed the discussion and the terms of the debate before you ever got to a point of discussing her charges. We framed the discussion of the debate. Period. Didn't ask where it was from. It was time to ride. The situation was critical. It's time to ride. We rode. We set a precedent. Now they got cops charged all over the damn place. As a result, I don't regret that. So understand something. You will get, the people will back you. We don't do that. But right now, it's important to get everybody on code. We have demonstrated what will happen if we back you. Now it's time for everybody to ride. I'll let you have the last word.
That's right, Jay. It's real interesting that we are the global majority, and we don't understand that we are the global majority.
Apparently, they're barricading the roads, stopping and searching wagons.
Well, we're starting to get on code about that. Thank you very much for
I ain't gonna live in fear of those.
I don't know when this thing is going to cut y'all off.
Go and let them know they ain't
Probably going to cut you off here in a little while, but I'll try to take as many calls as I can before it does. Caller from 618. You're on live with Black Channel. Caller from 618. You're on live.
Hi. My name is Boris Campbell. Can you hear me?
Boris, where you calling
from? Boris Campbell, can you hear me?
I said, where you calling
from? From East St. Louis.
Oh, East St. Louis. What's on your mind?
I'm calling from East St. Louis. East St. Louis.
Nigga, what's on your mind?
Hello?
Brother, what is
on your mind?
Hello?
Nigga.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's on my mind is about when we were talking about the immigrants. I used to always ask people, where are you from? And they would get a bad attitude. Like I'm being very offensive. But I found out when they come here, a lot of people, and I'm guessing this was a lot of black people, are wondering, like, why you come here? Because, see, white folks talk about them. They say, look, you come here and your own country's fucked up. Another thing I noticed is that me, myself, and my family, we become so broken up because of the simple fact that we always try to get ourselves in debt. Whether it's renting another car, moving out the house, trying to rent another apartment.
Brother, I'm gonna try to get another phone call in here, but thank you very much for this call. Let me get everybody try to keep this short here. We're going to try to take another phone call or two, but we're about to run out of time. Let me get a caller from 240 very quickly. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Joel from Baltimore, what's on your mind?
Hey, man, I really appreciate what you did calling up those two clowns the other day. You know, I just can't thank you enough for somebody finally getting on your neck. I don't even want to get on your neck. But my question is, what about these other clowns out there that had so much clout in hurting the movement? You know, like Umar, other guys, Elijah,
Well, I mean, brother, understand, I don't know what you have to understand there's always going to be people who are going to follow somebody no matter what. That reality doesn't matter. They're weak-minded individuals, and they just follow the first strong personality that they happen to slam into. But there's not a lot of thinking about it. So we don't have to worry about making other people weak. We need to focus on making ourselves super confident so that they can let
battery low.
There are other football leagues, Arena Football League, Lingerie Football League. I think Vince McMahon is trying to crank up the XFL again. Yeah, you're not going to stop people from starting up football leagues, no matter how specious. That's not going to happen. Your job is to become like the NFL. That you are so super dominant that these other people, yeah, they're out there, but they might as well not. And so don't worry so much about them. Yeah, there might be things happening. Every once in a while, there might be something to respond to, I'm not sure. But don't worry about everybody else, whether you agree or disagree. If this is where the real is, focus your powers and your energy on boosting what we do. That's the most important thing you can do. And everybody else, they will be what they're supposed to be. Marginalized, minimized. You're not going to eliminate them. The law doesn't allow you to. But they'll be minimized. There's always going to be a group of suckers who follow
battery low.
no matter what, how stupid or insane it is. Your job is to make sure that enough people hear what the real is and follow that to the point that everything else is just buzzing. If that. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight here, brother. Let me get a caller from 817. You're on live with Black Channel. Caller from 817, am I interrupting your discussion? It sounds like I am interrupting this entire deal over there. Didn't mean to stop it. I'll try one more. Let me get caller from 270. You're on live with Black Channel.
Yes, this is Jermaine calling from Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Jermaine from Bowling Green.
I just want to reinforce
Battery low.
that seemingly the majority of these immigrants are not on code. I worked at a job where these immigrants, black and brown, have not just adopted the idea of white supremacy, but they also have adopted their actions. Like at a job where freight will be coming down the line, they will be drawing swastika signs on freight. And also, when they say diversity at these jobs, they mean everyone but American descendants of slaves. And I could count on 2 hands the number of descendants of American slaves that are employed in the work. So it's all the way politics, business, and it's at these jobs also.
Right, at our job.
Battery low.
Clear the board, that kind of thing. The longer that's allowed to go on, at this point right now, it's reaching extinction levels. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Please do give us a call again. We're going to go ahead and see if we can wrap things up here tonight. Understand something, people. This is how serious it is. They're not. It is essential that we be on code now. I didn't say it was going to be easy. I didn't say it was going to be easy. But it's essential that we be on code now. That's going to be tough for some people because they've never actually had to live with a code. And they've never actually had to operate under one. But it's all the more important because these people are using everything. I started off the broadcast talking about the dollars. You got these people using their dollars, they're using immigration policy.
Battery low.
Media, they're using politics, they're using everything. They're using everything. Right now, we're struggling just to have a code. We're struggling just to have a code of conduct. To have a code of procedure. We're struggling just to get that. We're struggling just to have that. So what I want for us to do is start understanding how important that is. Not for the purposes of dividing us, but for the purposes of strengthening us. I'm probably the first person that you all met here that I wasn't concerned about whether or not we were liked. One of the great things we've done is we didn't concern ourselves with being liked. We didn't concern ourselves with being popular. We didn't concern ourselves with people loving what we do. We didn't concern ourselves with whether or not we're the most popular people in the room.
Battery low.
We concerned ourselves with fixing the pump. No matter how messy, no matter how difficult, we're not going to be broken. And everybody else is going to bend to us now. They're going to bend to us. It's not going to be easy, but it'll be done. If you're new here to the broadcast, welcome to the home of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. If you haven't clicked the red subscribe button, you want to go ahead and do that now. And then click the yellow notification bell so that you can stay on top of things. And make sure you check back with us. YouTube does involuntarily unsubscribe people from the channel. Make sure you check to make sure that you are subscribed.
Battery low.
If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, that is blackchannelfilms.com, you definitely want to go ahead and check out our documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified, Ethnic Cleansing American Style, our newest documentary, Race, all available on sale, all available on Amazon. There's a reason that presidential candidates got us here. We are the black media. See it for yourself and find out why. BlackChannelFilms.com. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of Black Shoulin4every's radio program. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.
Let me go ahead and say from the outset that this is going to be a rather lengthy introduction to the subject of riot.
Battery low.
We have been informed by the Congressional Black Caucus and the danger that it serves to have others speaking for you. If the immigrant blacks wish to speak for themselves, that's fine. But they cannot speak for us because we do not come from a common cultural experience. We do not have a common bond, and that's what we're going to be discussing here. Now, this is going to be a lengthy introduction because I'm going to be reading from a book called Tigers of Ten. I told you about it before. And it's important that we discuss this in particular because you need to understand how white supremacy works in trying to erase it, especially over a course of time. You carry out a great genocide. You devour them physically by killing them off or strangling them for resources. And then along the way, what you're doing is you're devouring them culturally and socially too. Whatever the culture is, whatever the culture is, you're eating that too. You're eating up whatever it is that these people are. You're taking on their practices and you're taking on certain aspects of their behavior. Not because you like them, not because you're trying to continue their cultural legacy, but precisely because this is part of the devouring process. You're absorbing them in everything except physically because you're trying to eliminate them physically. And you'll just have a few pieces of whatever their culture was because it's violent to try to inject some life into your own dying, desiccated culture. You see this all over the place, especially with those of us who survived slavery here in America. Foundational black culture has been just completely ripped off and appropriated, and its blood drained, and a million other violations. But it's not here in the United States where this happens. You also find that there are white Australians and New Zealanders who will take on the tribal dances of the Maori people while they're wiping them out and still shrinking up the resources. But if they're football games or little soccer games, they'll start off their games with doing one of those tribal. Then you'll have a bunch of white guys out there with a few of the black fellas for them. And they'll start off with a traditional Maori war dance. This for people who they're trying to wipe out. So just understand, that's how this works. Now, why is this the case? Now, every thief steals, but the really clever thieves, the really slick ones, the really sophisticated thieves, like white supremacists and their operatives try to do, is to legitimize their theft. Notice the wording that I used. Legitimize. I didn't say justify. Man who has not eaten in a couple of days,
he's
justified. Steals some food from the market, that man would justify it by saying, I was hungry. He's justifying the threat, but he's not legitimizing it. On the other hand, when you have somebody who claims, yeah, I know I didn't have anything to do with the 15th Amendment or the Voting Rights Act or Brown v. Board, but you know what? I went to school because of those laws, and because of that, I think that I'm the best person to speak for all of you people who did fight for all of these changes, and, well, you know, I like Dr. King as much as you do, and hey, what about Malcolm X's mother, and what about Shirley Chisholm, and hey, Marcus Garvey didn't come out of American slavery, so if you had no problem with them, you can't have a problem with me. You got all these clowns trying to grandfather clause themselves into our history and looking for any flimsy, feeble tactic they can use to legitimize their own duplicity and treachery against us. That's what's going on. You got people trying to lay claim to our history, trying to steal our place in the world, and they're trying to legitimize it, meaning to make it right. This is the right thing to do. This is supposed to happen. This is right. That's what legitimize means. Now, if you want an example of that, keep in mind, they're taking the playbook right out of white supremacy, literally. There's a book that I told you about, which you can still get online, called Tigers of Ten. I've mentioned it in the past, and the main reason that I want to bring it up for this evening's video essay is because of the fact that this book was written in 1967. I got a lot of books that basically, a lot of them start in the 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, and some before that. And it's a matter of why does Professor Black Truth collect all these old books? And that's the reason for that happens to be it's way before the internet. way before what we, even those of us who were Generation X who grew up with
you had to go to the library.
computer indexing. Before all that, you had to, when you were doing history, you had to go to the original archives. That's part of the reason why so many academics or people who had worked in government, like the Smithsonian and such, why these were largely people who were involved in the writing of these books, if not the original information. You had to go to actual source documents, stuff that was kept in archives, stuff that you couldn't go to the library to get, because it wasn't in books that had already been published. The book itself starts off with a white man being inducted into the Society of St. Tammany. Now, I'm not entirely sure when this takes place. It probably most likely took place in the early 19th century. But the point that I'm trying to make is Tammany is a Native American name. That's the name of the Native American chief. His name was actually Tamaranti, but by the time they were done bastardizing it, it's Tammany. And that's where Tammany Hall comes from. You got a bunch of white guys here who are running around with an organization named after a Native American chief. This is typical of white supremacy. Part of how they legitimize their theft is by actually devouring the people through warfare. You're chewing them up to nothing, and then afterwards, you're also devouring their culture. This is the reason why cultural appropriation is so damnable. This is genocide taking place. This is what the world they're doing, because they're not doing it because they like you. They're doing it because they're attempting to absorb you and erase you. And the only thing that will be left will be just a couple old wives' tales and whatever few fragments of what you did. They'll take away whatever they feel is dynamic and vibrant about your culture so they can prop up their own empty, desiccated, and dying culture of their own. But the truth is, it's vampires. Now, the time of the Tammany starts off with the induction ceremony, and I know that this is going to take a while. That's part of the reason why I'm posting this separately. This is admittedly a prelude to the entire video essay regarding the immigrant black caucus in general, but I think that it's important that we go over this step by step because I want you to see how long it's been going on, because these are the rituals and such that go all the way back to the 18th century. In fact, about the time that the Constitution was being written. So the idea of the Europeans attempting to try to appropriate the Native Americans in some way goes back way before $5 Indians. Now here's the beginning of the book. In the great wigwam of the island of Manhattan's, 2 columns of fiercely painted braves stood silently, their eyes fixed on the closed curtain. Behind the curtain, the sagamore of the tribe, tomahawk in hand, the badge of a soaring eagle over his heart, interrogated a trembling paleface. "Are you a citizen of the United States?" the sagamore asked in perfect English. "Etho," the captive replied, hoping to curry favor through his knowledge of the Indian tongue. "Are your intentions friendly and honorable?" the sagamore persisted. "Etho." "And are you a lover of freedom?" "Etho." The tribe's Wiskinki, a surly-looking brave with 2 large keys hooked to his belt, walked behind the curtain. He too wore a badge, this one depicting a great eye over a door with the words inscribed, "No slave nor tyrant enters." After a moment, the Wiskinki reappeared from behind the curtain and moved quickly to a door at the opposite end of the wigwam. "John Morton," the Wiskinki shouted to the door. From behind the door, a deep voice acknowledged the name of the white stranger. The Wiskinki returned to the curtain and whispered to the sagamore. A moment later, the sagamore emerged and walked between the 2 columns of braves to the door. He knocked 3 times. 2 times sounded in the clock. Voices raised in song. Sacred the ground where freedom is found, and virtue stamps its name. Our hearts entwine at friendship's shrine, and union fans the flame. Our hearts sincere shall greet you here with joyful voice. Confirm your choice, Etho, Etho, Etho. The curtain was rapidly drawn aside. The man named John Morton was pushed forward. His path between the 2 lines of braves was lighted by 2 men carrying torches. Behind them came the sagamore wearing the captive liberty. As John Morton walked the gauntlet forward to block his way, the man in the middle, father of the council, raised his tomahawk above the prisoner's head. The tomahawk came crashing down. In the nick of time, the sagamore deflected the blow of the tomahawk with his liberty staff. "Sago, Sago, Sago," asked the father of the council, raising the tomahawk to strike again. "Sago, Sago, oh," Sagamore replied. "Is this stranger worthy of a seat among us?" the father of the council asked in English, still brandishing his tomahawk. "Etho," said the Sagamore. "Does he love freedom?" "Etho." "Will he unbury the tomahawk from beneath the great wigwam before his country's good requires?" "Yat." "Will he bear adversity, torture, and death in defense of liberty, like a true son of Tammany?" "Etho." The father of the council dropped his tomahawk to his side. "Conduct him, Sagamore, to our great Sakin." The small procession of torchbearers, Sagamore and frightened stranger, continued along its way between the two columns of braves to the door. "Grand Sakin," Sagamore addressed the door, "this stranger has given the fullest assurance of his sincere intentions to support the harmony, reputation, constitution, and laws of this society, and it is therefore recommended that he be adopted as a brother." The door opened, the great Sakin, mightiest of the tribe, stepped out. A hush fell over the wigwam. The great Sakin glared at the paleface, then he spoke softly. "Friend, favorable reports given of your character and intentions have recommended you to the acceptance of this society." The Sagamore handed the staff with the cap of liberty to the Grand Sakin, who held it over the head of John Morton. "John Morton," intoned the Grand Sakin, "you do freely declare that you will support the harmony, reputation, constitution, and laws of this society, and preserve inviolably all its secrets from the knowledge of others." John Morton raised his left hand. "Etho," he declared. The Grand Sakin returned to the assembled braves. "Brothers, are you satisfied with the declaration and obligation of the candidate?" The braves stamped their feet in unison. "Etho," they cried. Now it was Kinky walked over to John Morton and bent toward him expectantly. Morton whispered in his ear, "Liberty is our life." The Wiskinky whispered back, "May you ever enjoy it." John Morton placed his left hand over his heart, and the Wiskinky repeated the gesture. Then Morton extended his left hand and interlocked forefingers with the Wiskinky in the Tammany grip of brotherhood. The Grand Sakin spoke. "I now confirm you as a son of Tammany and member of the Columbian Order." The new brave was led to a leather-bound volume where he signed "John Morton" to the Constitution of the Society of St. Tammany. It was now 2 hours past the setting of the sun, on the third day of the second moon, season of snows, the year of discovery 347, of independence 63, and of the institution 50. The Grand Sakin turned once more to his tribe. "Will you now be willing to lose this brother?" The braves stamped their feet. "Yat," they cried. Now, if you wonder where all that strangeness was from, it happened to be part of the details, it happened to be part of the rituals that were kept by Tammany's membership. And it was donated to Columbia University in 1965. They kept records of these little rituals, who was there, what was said. They kept rituals of this stuff going back to the late 18th century. So if you want to know what the world was going on, why the Freemasons, white guys, have no problem running around in black Egyptian attire, naming themselves after Egyptian organizations, now you know why. Here these guys are, freely interchanging the names of Native American authority figures and an organization named after a Native American chieftain, but calling itself the Columbian Order. Columbia, that's freaking Christopher Columbus. So you see what the hell it is they're doing there. You see what's going on. This is important because I want you to understand this is what they've been doing for hundreds of years now. They've been doing this for hundreds of years. Devouring the cultures of the people who they come across and appropriating it as their own and trying to add legitimacy to their theft by saying, "Oh, we call our place not. We don't call it a hall. We don't call it a temple. We call it a wigwam. And we don't call this guy here the president of the organization. We call him the Grand Sakin. That's what we call him. Why, this organization was named after a Native American chieftain, so you can't say that we just hated the Native Americans and slaughtered these Indians. Why, it's more complex than that. Did you know that my great-grandfather was part Native American? I mean, you see the game going on here. ain't got a damn thing to do with respecting those who they wiped out. It's all about legitimizing what they've done. And I recognize that was kind of a long way around to approach that.
Hey.
But the thing is, that's important to me because that sticks out to me, and I want it to stick out to you so you can understand how long they've been doing this. Now, on to the Black Immigrant Caucus. Pew Research performed a study last year listing the members of Congress who are either immigrants or second generation. But as I've always taught you, when it comes to us as foundational blacks, we have to do our own research. We can't just be sitting here thinking of the people who enslaved us and the propaganda armed white supremacy, which Pew Research is part of, that they're going to be actually trying to do us any favors. White media, and this includes white think tanks like Pew Research, they're only going to scrape the surface, and mostly for the sake of legitimizing their program, not for the sake of exposing what they're really doing. Besides, their job is to protect tools of white supremacy, and few tools are as valuable as the black misleadership class. They are crucial to confusing and undermining our internal politics. Now, you see some of the usual suspects among the list, like Kamala Harris and Ilhan Omar, but you see a few others like Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, who was born in Brooklyn, but her parents are from Jamaica, just like Kamala Harris. Yvette Clarke has said practically nothing about black people, and absolutely nothing about a black agenda. Sheila Jackson Lee has been exposed as a white power tool she's always been. Something about Jamaica seems to make them especially attracted to white power to meet their buttons. Congressman Anthony Brown, he was born in New York, but his mother is a white woman from Switzerland, and his father an Afro-Cuban. Congressman Joe Neguse, his parents are both from Eritrea. Congressman Stephen Horsford, born in Las Vegas, but his parents are immigrants from Trinidad. The problem with Pew Research, of course, is that as part of the white media, they don't go in depth. They just do a quick blink and you'll miss it mention and then run along. But this is the black media. We dig way beyond the surface. Now I'm going to do a quick listing of them off top, and then we're going to go in depth with each of them. Congressman Delgado of New York. His father is Puerto Rican. Congressman Anthony Brown of Maryland, who used to be that state's former lieutenant governor. His mother is a white woman from Switzerland, and his father is an Afro-Cuban. So how the hell did he wind up with an Anglo name then? Because Anthony Brown is neither Swiss nor Cuban. Well, they didn't do it so that he could seem American, because American means white. The reason they did it was to help him pass as one of us. Because they understood exactly what advantages America was going to give him by virtue of his bloodline, which didn't go back to the plantations. Congressman Joe Neguse of Colorado. His parents are from Eritrea, and his wife is Hispanic. This man has done nothing, absolutely nothing for black people. He talks the same colorblind nonsense that he knows casual racists, read white moderates, want to hear. They want an immigrant who doesn't mention America's sins and crimes against black people. You can rail on about anything you want, except for foundational black folks and what we're owed. This menagerie of clowns, as I started going through their bios, it was like watching a non-stop monster movie, just villain after villain. Though it became particularly interesting when I got to Stephen Horsford, and yes, he immediately made me think of Stephen from Django. He co-sponsored House Resolution 15, a bill that would be giving blanket amnesty to all illegal aliens in the U.S. So he showed that his top priority was and is not black Americans, not foundational blacks, but immigrants. His record is the kind of anti-foundational black nonsense you would expect from a white power puppet. But it was when I looked into his spouse that things really got interesting. Congressman Horsford is married to Sonia Horsford, a so-called academic who has a degree in educational leadership, whatever that means. She also majored in speech communication. Not sure what exactly that qualifies her to do, but white power doesn't pick its operatives based on credentials. She's currently a professor at Columbia University. See how Columbia's name keeps coming up over and over again? When it comes to how white power is steeped, it's no accident that it comes up so much. Because you want to know who else was a professor at Columbia? Barack Obama. You talk constitutional law. Yep. These white institutions of lower learning have a fetish for biracials who they indoctrinate all kinds of anti-black nonsense and then push into our community claiming that they're one of us. As you can see, this Sonia Horsford doesn't have much color to her skin at all. I immediately wanted to know where she's from. I can't find it. I wanted to know about her parents. Not much info on them either, except for a Twitter post that she made, which linked to an Instagram picture of a black man and his Asian woman. You know, for someone who's so proud of her parents, she's gone out of her way not to say one fitting word about them. Now, you can love whomever you want, but there's a reality here. We don't live in a contextless vacuum. What defines the context of the world we live in are group power dynamics. And right now, all of those dynamics are controlled or overwhelmingly influenced by white supremacy. And black people, as a group, have no power. So when some type of conflict arises, it's a hell of a lot more likely that you'll go in the direction of your non-black significant other than that they'll go in the direction of black society. That's the reality. Are the interests of this non-black white the same as the black community? Because we do have interests. The Asian community certainly has their interests, and allying themselves with us isn't one of them. Taking Sonia Horsford's parents as a case study, even if this Asian woman is the purest of the pure and the nicest of the nice, so what? She isn't in a position to lead Asian people. She is only representative of herself. This is why I don't waste time with black people who like to bring up their non-black friend who they're cool with, or some non-black boyfriend or girlfriend or acquaintance who they claim to be cool with. Your exceptional pal is exactly that, an exception. Your one non-black friend is one person, and you can't have an alliance with one person. As conventional black, we are a group, and groups don't have alliances with one person, unless that person is someone of the caliber of Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos. We live under a system of white supremacy, and that supremacy is not defined by anti-Asian racism. It is defined exclusively by anti-black racism. And doing it more specific than that, exclusively anti-foundational black racism. And while you're busy looking for true love, white supremacy is plotting how to wipe you and all the other black folks out. Not how to wipe the Asians out. They're trying to figure out how to wipe black people out. Also, when you look at Sonia Horsford's Twitter timeline, you see her pushing that fraud about black-brown alliance. Gee, have you ever noticed how the only time that we see Hispanics talking about police violence against black people is when they're trying to finesse us into supporting more of them being brought to the country? When they're trying to finesse us into supporting what is nothing less than amnesty. Then all of a sudden, they give a blinking illicit mention of police violence against black people. Of course, what they never mention is either George Zimmerman or Officer Yanez in Minnesota who murdered Philando Castillo, or any of the other Hispanic police officers who decide to enact violence against black people. Their names never come up. The same way that you could be married to an Asian person, but you notice when it came time for the Asian community to step up for Peter Liang, they did it across the board. Nobody in the Asian community was sticking up for a Kagura, who, by the way, was descended from immigrants. Just for the record. You take a look at how these Hispanic communities have treated black people either in their home countries or else specifically black people here in the U.S.
756.
And
That's all?
around and
Yeah, it's still early.
support more Hispanics being brought into the country so black folks can get more such treatment. No, when it comes to the mythical black-brown alliance, the Latinos clearly get the better end of that deal. And yet it's a deal that Sonia Horsford is advocating for. So Sonia Horsford is only interested in what would benefit immigrants, legal or not. And look at this asinine little saying here. Tu Luca is my Luca. Actually, it's not. My fight is against immigrants who come to the U.S. to carry out anti-black racism and anti-black violence. Is that the fight of these Hispanic communities? I don't think so. And this is what a congressman's wife posts. None of this reflects what black people think. None of this reflects what black people have demanded. And people like Sonia Hornsford and her husband know that. So even if you want to try to say that Stephen Hornsford's not as bad as all that, you see what the world his wife does. While he's busy giving you some of Dr. King's greatest hits, he's giving you the quotable Dr. King. He's sitting here talking about Jim Crow and other things that he thinks are going to blind you to the scam. You see what his wife is out there doing. Understand that the black misleadership class was an invention of white supremacy. They're not there to reflect our interests. They are there to get us to work against our interests or to sit on our hands while white supremacy continues apace. They are there to be the black face, to sell us white lies. They are there to always try to talk us into inaction when bold action is what's called for. So for those of you out there who think to yourselves that it doesn't matter who it is that you happen to be in love with, it does matter under white supremacy because nothing happens in a vacuum under white supremacy. And being a black person, you can't afford to go through life being casual. Your color matters, as does your bloodline. So the further your bloodline moves away from a foundational black, a survivor of slavery in the U.S., the further that you're moving away from our history, our struggle, and the common bond that came out of coming from common experience. Your experience did not come from Asians who came over after Vietnam. It didn't happen. Your bloodline, your common experience is not with Koreans or Japanese immigrants or Chinese immigrants or Hispanics coming in across the Rio Grande. Your experience with people who came out of slavery. That's important because those Hispanic communities are not pretending that they've got something in common with you. Those Asians are not pretending like they got something in common with you. So why are you trying to pretend as if you don't have something in common with yourself? So no, I'm afraid that the Asian wife most likely cannot understand where we're coming from. And I say that based on the behavior of the group that she comes from. I look at the group's behavior, that group's attitude toward us. And then you look at Sonia Hornsford. She's half black, but you look at what she writes, what she proclaims, and she talks like any other white people that you ever heard. Hell, her books are co-authored by white people, so there you go. Congressman Horsford's wife has written all kinds of tripes. Educational leadership of black women in the U.S. Did you catch that title? Intersectional identities. Now, haven't I always warned you about words like intersectional? These were terms created by white power and put into the mouths of black so-called academics. And you notice that those black academics usually come from a culture outside of foundational black culture. You got a bunch of people who are who consider themselves to be primarily LGBT, or immigrants, or biracials. Intersectional is a political term meant to attack us. Congressman Horsford's wife is the typical white power shill trying to drive wedges between black people on the basis of gender, because that's why the European enslaved us, wasn't it? Because our ancestors were all women, right? You see the game that she's playing here? She's showing up and trying to push all sorts of dogma and ideology that serves to
That's one house I walked
You want to know why it is that we happen to have tangibles on the record now as part of American politics? It's because black men and black women have worked together. They put aside all the lies that the Europeans were trying to use and decide we're getting behind this message. This is the same thing that happened in the 1860s and was successful.